Brat, I'm heading out to handle something huge. From here on, you're on your own. Go down the mountain, see the world, cause a little trouble if you must. The old man's voice still rang in Yang Luo's ears. And don't forget what I set up 18 years ago. I arranged an engagement for you with the Luo family in Jiang City. Go fulfill it. He'd paused like he was remembering something annoying. Oh, and your 5 senior sisters keep pestering me about when you're coming down. If you've got time, go see them. They miss you. Then the old man's tone turned unusually serious. A few years back, I built an international organization. I'm leaving it to you. Take over when the time comes. Another pause. One more thing. It concerns your life. If you can't find someone compatible with your innate pure yang body within 3 years, you're done. That was how the farewell ended. No explanation. No comfort. Just orders dropped like stones. A red Maserati cut along the highway toward Jiang City. Yang Luo sat in the back seat, leaning against the leather, watching the winter bare landscape slide past the window. The old man's words kept looping in his head, especially that part about leaving in a hurry. Whatever had happened up the mountain, it had been big enough to make the old man vanish without even giving him time to argue. There were 2 women in the car. The one driving looked young, sharp, and put together. Shoulder-length hair, clean oval face, beige professional suit fitted neatly to her figure. She drove like someone used to control. Beside Yang Luo sat the other woman, older, calmer, with a kind of quiet elegance. Long black hair, fine features, a black cheongsam that made it impossible to ignore how striking she was. Both were the sort of women people turn to look at twice. Or 3 times. Not long ago, Yang Luo had pulled them out of trouble when a group of thugs tried to corner them. It hadn't been a big deal to him, but it clearly meant something to them. They insisted on driving him into the city. And now, as he watched the 2 of them, he couldn't help thinking, if this is the standard in Jiang City, what's the fiancé my old man picked like? The young driver glanced at him through the rearview mirror. Sir, thank you again, she said sincerely. If you hadn't helped my aunt and I, we could have been in real danger. Yang Luo waved it off. It was nothing. Don't take it so seriously. I'm Su Qimei, she said. And this is my aunt, Su Wanqiu. The older woman gave him a polite, composed nod. Su Qimei continued, may I ask your name? Yang Luo. Su Qimei's tone softened a little. Mr. Yang, are you going to Jiang City to find work? If you need help, we can arrange something. And a place to stay, Su Wanqiu added. That's not difficult. It wasn't a bad guess. Yang Luo's clothes were simple, even rustic. He looked like someone who'd stepped out of the mountains because he had. I'm not going to find a job, Yang Luo said. I'm going to fulfill my engagement. Su Qimei blinked. Engagement. With the Luo family's eldest daughter, Yang Luo said casually. Lu Yue. The car went quiet for half a second. What? Su Qingmei's grip tightened on the steering wheel. The Luo family? Even Su Wanqiu turned to look at him properly now, her gaze sharp with disbelief. The Luo family might not be the absolute top in Jiang City, but they were still a powerful, wealthy family. And this young man in plain clothes was saying he was engaged to their eldest daughter? It sounded ridiculous. Yang Luo caught their expressions and shrugged. You don't believe me? Neither woman answered, which was answer enough. Believe it or don't, he said. It's true. Su Qimei forced a polite smile and didn't press further, but her eyes said everything. In her mind, this was Mountain Boy bragging. They chatted lightly as the city drew closer. An hour later, the Maserati entered Jiang City proper, weaving into the brighter roads and taller buildings of the center. Then Su Wanqiu suddenly stiffened. She brought a hand to her chest. Her breathing turned shallow and rapid. Sweat gathered at her temples. The color drained from her face like someone had pulled a curtain down. Aunt. Su Qingmei's voice jumped. She swerved toward the roadside and stopped. What's wrong? Su Wanqiu tried to smile through it, but it looked forced. It's fine, just the old problem acting up again. I'll get checked at the hospital. Yang Luo clicked his tongue, not impressed. If you wait for the hospital, he said, she won't make it. Su Qimei snapped her head around. What did you just say? Su Wanqiu's brows drew together too, offended even through the pain. Yang Luo didn't flinch. He simply looked at Su Wanchio's face and posture like he was reading a report. Myocarditis, he said. At least 3 years. When it hits, it feels like your heart's being twisted. Breathing gets tight, like you're drowning while still awake. Su Qimei stared, furious and shaken. Enough. My aunt is just. But Su Wanchio's eyes widened, and fear cut through her composure. Mr. Yang, her voice trembled. How do you know that? I learned medicine from an old man, Yang Luo said. Su Qimei froze. Then her face changed, panic creeping in fast. Aunt, why didn't you tell me? Her voice cracked. You always said it was just asthma. Su Wanchio tried to answer, but she broke into a violent cough instead. Her body shook. Her lips paled. Then she sagged, consciousness slipping. Aunt. Su Qimei caught her, hands trembling. She looked at Yang Luo, eyes wet, pride gone. If you can tell what it is, then you can help, right? Please. Yang Luo nodded once. I can relieve it for now. But a full cure takes time, and I've got things to do. Anything, Su Qimei said quickly. Just save her. Yang Luo leaned in. His right hand moved towards Su Wanchio's chest. Su Qimei jolted, instinct screaming. What are you doing? Yang Luo sighed like he didn't have the energy for this. Her heart is the problem. Where do you think I'm supposed to treat her? Her elbow. Su Qingmei's eyes turned sharp again. If you're taking advantage. I'm not, he said flatly. Then he placed 2 fingers together, focused, and tapped a point near the heart with precise force, channeling a thin thread of true qi. It was fast, controlled, clinical. A moment later, he tapped a second point. Then a third. Su Wanchio's coughing stopped as if someone had cut it off. Her breathing steadied. The tension in her face eased. Color began returning to her cheeks. Yang Luo pulled his hand back and stood. She's stable, he said. Not cured. Stable. Get her properly treated as soon as you can. Su Qimei stared like her brain was struggling to catch up. Yang Luo opened the door. I've got somewhere to be. He paused, glanced back with a faint smile. Take care of her. Then he stepped out and walked away into the city. Su Qimei didn't even notice at first. She was too focused on her aunt, gripping her hand like she could keep her anchored to the world. Right then, Su Wanchio's eyelids fluttered open. Su Qimei leaned in urgently, voice shaking. Aunt, how do you feel? Talk to me. Su Wanchio took a few deep breaths, then looked up in disbelief. I'm not dizzy anymore, she said, voice shaking with surprise. The tightness in my chest is gone. I can breathe properly. And the pain, it's completely gone. Su Qimei just stared at her. If she hadn't watched it happen, she would have called it impossible. That man had only tapped a few points near her aunt's heart, and the attack had vanished like it was never there. Su Wanchio scanned the street outside the window, suddenly anxious. Qimei, where is Mr. Yang? Su Qimei blinked, finally snapping out of it. He left. Left. Su Wanchio's eyes widened. That's insane. Qimei, that man isn't just a doctor. He's a miracle worker. Why did you let him walk away? Su Qimei swallowed. I was focused on you. We haven't even thanked him, Su Wanchio said, then hesitated, breath quickening again, this time from excitement. And more than that, with skills like his, he might actually be able to treat your grandfather. Su Qimei frowned, torn between hope and realism. And so many top doctors have failed. Even specialists. Can he really? He diagnosed me in seconds, Su Wanchio cut in, firm now. Not only the illness, but how it feels when it flares up. And he pulled me back from the edge in minutes. She grabbed Su Qingmei's hand. We have to find him. Su Qimei looked out at the road, regret flashing across her face. But he's already gone. How are we supposed to find him? Su Wanchio's eyes sharpened. Didn't he say he was going to the Lu family to fulfill an engagement? Su Qingmei's head snapped up. Right. Then we go to the Lu family, Su Wanchio said. Now. Su Qimei didn't waste another second. She started the car and drove straight toward the Lu family villa. The Lu family estate was loud, bright, and crowded. Inside the main hall, red decorations hung everywhere. Guests in expensive suits and glittering dresses filled the room, laughing and clinking glasses. It was supposed to be a celebration. But in the center of it all stood a young man in plain clothes, holding an old marriage contract. And the Luo family was tearing into him like wolves. "A mountain nobody wants to marry into our family," someone scoffed. "Keep dreaming. A toad wants swan meat. Look at yourself. Who let this beggar in? Throw him out." The insults came fast, loud, and sharp enough to draw attention from every corner of the room. Today was meant to be the engagement banquet of Lu Yue, the Lu family's eldest daughter, and Zhao Tianheng, the Zhao family's heir. The Zhao family was a step above the Lius, and this marriage was their golden ticket into a higher circle. Then Yang Luo showed up with a contract and said one sentence that ruined the mood. "I'm here to fulfill the engagement." It was like tossing a match into oil. Yang Luo listened without reacting. But inside, irritation boiled. He hadn't come here to beg. He came because the old man told him to, and now the Lu family acted like they'd never heard of him. He looked straight at the old man seated at the head of the hall. Lu Changhe, dressed in a red tang suit, face stern, eyes cold. "Old Master Lu," Yang Luo said, voice steady, "you were the one who begged my master for this engagement back then. Now you're denying it." That made Lu Changhe's face tighten. The story was real. 20 years ago, the old man had saved him, extended his life, and Lu Changhe had clung on like a drowning man, pleading to become family. Now that the Lu family had a better option, that gratitude had turned into embarrassment. Lu Changhe snorted. 20 years is a long time. That engagement doesn't count anymore. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Back then I was being polite. You took it seriously." Then his voice hardened. "I will never allow Yue to marry the disciple of some bumpkin doctor." Lu Yuding, the younger daughter, shot Yang Luo a disgusted look. "Have you seen yourself? Those clothes you're wearing, do they even cost 100 yuan? You look like you crawled out of a ditch." Lu Yue stepped forward too, chin raised, eyes full of pride. "Yang Luo, my husband will be a real man. A dragon among men. A rich young master." She pointed at him like he was dirt. "And you? What are you? A guy who rolled down from the mountains. What right do you have to marry me?" She turned toward Zhao Tianheng like she was making a public statement. "Only young Master Zhao is worthy of me." Zhao Tianheng smirked, enjoying every second. "Kid, I'm the Zhao family's future head. President of a company worth tens of billions. You? You don't have money. You don't have power. You want to fight me for a woman." Yang Luo laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I'm not fighting you for her," he said calmly. "A woman who's already been used up like that isn't worth fighting over." The hall went silent for half a beat. Then Lu Yue exploded. "You dare call me that?" Her face flushed with rage, because he'd hit a nerve. The guests started whispering instantly, eyes flicking between her and Yang Luo. Everyone knew rich families had messy secrets. Nobody liked hearing them said out loud. He Xinlan, Lu Yue's mother, slammed her hand on the table. "Guards! Beat him!" The guards started stepping forward. "Enough!" Lu Changhe barked furious. "Do you want to embarrass the Lu family in front of all these guests?" The guard stopped. Lu Changhe's eyes turned calculating. He leaned back, then spoke like he was above it all. "Kid, you're here for money, aren't you?" He waved at his son. "Zhanhua. Give him 1 million. Tell him to hand over the contract and get out." "Yes, father." Lu Zhanhua wrote a check, tossed it on the floor in front of Yang Luo, and pointed at it. "Pick it up. Give us the contract. Then disappear." Yang Luo looked at the check like it was trash. Then he smiled, slow and cold. "Lu Changhe," he said, "you're really generous. 20 years of life, and you price it at 1 million. Lu Changhe's face darkened. 1 million is not a small sum. Lu Yuding sneered. "For a mountain rat like you, 1 million is a dream. In 10 years you couldn't earn that." Lu Yue stepped forward, snatched the contract from Yang Luo's hand before he could move, and ripped it in half. Then into quarters. Then into scraps. She even stomped on the pieces like she was crushing him along with it. Yang Luo didn't move. He just watched, eyes calm, smile still there. When she finished, he spoke softly. "I hope you don't regret this, Lu Yue." She laughed. "Regret? I'll never regret it. And begging you?" She scoffed like it was the funniest thing she'd heard all day. That's even more impossible. The guests laughed with her, looking at Yang Luo like he was a clown who'd wandered into the wrong room. Then, from outside the hall, a voice rang out. The third madam of the Su family and the eldest daughter of the Su family have arrived. The laughter died instantly. Heads turned. Conversations froze. And then they walked in. Su Wanqiu and Su Qimei. Elegant. Calm. Beautiful in a way that made the entire room feel cheap by comparison. Even Lu Yue, who'd been acting like a queen a second ago, suddenly looked like she didn't belong on the same stage. The hall erupted into whispers. That's Su Wanqiu. And Su Qimei. The Su family is first here. Why are they here? Lu Changhe immediately stood up, forcing a wide smile as if he hadn't been screaming a moment ago. What a rare honor. Lu Yue shoved past people too, moving fast, desperate to be seen. But Su Wanqiu and Su Qimei didn't even glance at them. They walked straight through the crowd. Straight past the Lu family. Straight past the Zhao family. Straight to the young man in plain clothes. Su Wanqiu's face lit up with relief. Mr. Yang, she said warmly, we finally found you.
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Instantly, everyone present was dumbfounded. Everyone originally thought that Su Qimei and Su Wanqiu were here to attend the engagement banquet. However, from the looks of it, that did not seem to be the case. Moreover, from the looks of it, third Madam Su and young Miss Su were here for this wild kid. But how is this possible? On one side was the Su family, and on the other was a kid who lived in the wild. The two of them could not be compared at all, okay? Yang Luo did not expect these two beauties to actually chase him here. Beauty, are you feeling better? Yang Luo turned to Su Wanqiu and asked. Su Wanqiu smiled gently and said, it's all thanks to Mr. Yang. My body is much better now. Lu Changhe walked over and asked in confusion, Third Madam Su, do you know this kid? Su Wanqiu nodded and said indifferently, this gentleman is my benefactor and friend. Lu Yue also walked over and smiled dryly, Third Madam Su, could you have made a mistake? This kid just came from the mountains. Without waiting for Su Wanqiu to speak, Su Qimei frowned. So, what if he's from the mountains? Can he still be our friend? When she came in just now, she had already realized that Yang Luo seemed to be on bad terms with the Lu family, so she naturally would not be nice to them. Lu Yue hurriedly said, Miss Su, that's not what I meant. What I mean is, with your statuses as the third madam and young miss of the Su family, how can you be friends with such a low-caste person? Su Qingmei's expression turned cold. Miss Lu, I don't think you need to poke your nose into who our Su family is friends with, right? Hearing this, Lu Yue hung her mouth open, speechless. However, Lu Yuding said unhappily, we're just reminding you not to casually befriend some messy people. What kind of attitude is that? Su Qimei slowly turned around and stared coldly at Lu Yuding. Lu Changhe was shocked and quickly shouted at Lu Yuding, shut up. Lu Yuding said aggrievedly, Grandpa, I didn't say anything wrong. I told you to shut up. Lu Changhe immediately exploded in anger and slapped Lu Yuding's face. Lu Yuding fell to the ground from the slap and began to wail. Lu Changhe wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said with a smile, Miss Su, I hope you can forgive the young for being insensible. It couldn't be helped. Although their Lu family was also a wealthy family, they were far inferior to the Su family. If they offended the Su family, it would be very difficult for their Lu family to gain a foothold in Jiang City in the future. Miss Su, I've heard a lot about you. I'm Zhao Tianheng from the Zhao family. At this moment, Zhao Tianheng walked forward and revealed a mellow smile as he extended his hand to Su Qimei. Su Qimei was the dream lover of all the young masters of the wealthy families in Jiang City, and he was no exception. Do I know you well? Su Qingmei's eyes were cold, and she had no intention of reciprocating the handshake. Zhao Tianheng smiled awkwardly and retracted his hand. Miss Su, I've always wanted to find an opportunity to get to know you. However, Su Qimei ignored Zhao Tianheng and smiled at Yang Luo. Mr. Yang, my aunt, and I want to ask you for a favor. I wonder if it's possible. Seeing Su Qingmei's smile, all the men present were stunned. They felt their hearts race and their breathing quicken. It was as though they had once again found the feeling of meeting their first love. Yang Luo smiled and nodded, of course. That's great. Su Qimei was very happy. Mr. Yang, let's talk outside. All right. Yang Luo nodded and prepared to leave with Su Qimei and Su Wanqiu. However, before he left, Yang Luo looked at Lu Changhe indifferently and said, Lu Changhe, let me remind you of something. Hurry up and prepare a coffin. You won't live for long. Bastard, you. Lu Yue was about to curse when she was stopped by Lu Changhe's gaze. He could also tell that Su Qimei and Su Wanqiu were both on Yang Luo's side. He naturally did not want to offend the Su family because of Yang Luo. However, Lu Changhe's expression had already darkened. Anyone who heard such words would be furious. Of course, he only thought that Yang Luo was scaring him. After all, he felt that his current body was still very good. It would not be a problem for him to live for another 8 or even 10 years. However, what puzzled him was that Yang Luo had just come out of the mountains. How did he know someone from the Su family? As for Zhao Tianheng, his eyes were filled with ruthlessness as he completely remembered his grudge between Yang Luo and Su Qimei. As the trio walked out of the Lu family villa, Yang Luo asked, May I ask what help you two beauties want me to do? He had a good impression of these two people. Today, they had driven him into the city and had just helped him suppress the Lu family's arrogance, so he was willing to help. In addition, he had just arrived in Jiang City and did not know anyone. If he needed to do anything in the future, he could ask them for help. Su Qimei said, Mr. Yang, I want to ask you to save my grandfather. Yang Luo nodded and smiled. Then you've found the right person. There's no illness in this world that I can't treat. Mr. Yang, you don't even know what illness my grandfather has. Are you so sure it can be cured? Su Qimei frowned slightly, feeling that Yang Luo was a little too arrogant. This guy had not even seen the patient, yet he dared to boast like this? Was it really wise for herself and her aunt to have invited him there? Yang Luo smiled at the two women and said, Don't worry, as long as the patient is still breathing, I can save him. Although Su Qimei felt that Yang Luo was becoming more and more unreliable, she could only try now. Su Wanqiu interrupted, Mr. Yang, let's go to the hospital. All right. Yang Luo nodded and followed the two women into the car, heading straight for the Jiang City Central Hospital. Jiang City Central Hospital. In a special care ward, Huang Tian, the leader of the 4 divine doctors in Jiang City, was treating an old man on the bed. At this moment, the surrounding people looked anxious. In particular, the hospital dean, Tang Dexin, was even more uneasy. It couldn't be helped. The person lying on the hospital bed now was the old master of the top family in Jiang City, the Su family, Su Guoxiong. Su Guoxiong was a high-ranking official in the province back during his heyday and held a high status. If anything really happened to Su Guoxiong, he could forget about being the dean. Time continued to flow. Half an hour passed quickly. Huang Tian heaved a sigh of relief and retracted the silver needles on the various acupoints on Su Guoxiong's body. Divine Dr. Huang, how's old Master Su? Tang Dexin hurriedly asked. The others also looked at Huang Tian expectantly. Huang Tian sighed and shook his head. If I had mastered the last 3 needles of the 9 needles of revolving yang, I might be able to treat old Master Su. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability yet. Divine Dr. Huang, please think of another way. Divine Dr. Huang, if you can save my father, no matter what you want, our Su family will hand it over. Su Guoxiong's eldest son, Su Wenfeng, and second son, Su Wenbin, also begged. Huang Tian's face was filled with bitterness. I admire old Master Su's character very much. If I had a way, I would naturally treat him. It's a pity that my medical skills are still lacking. To be honest, I'm afraid old Master Su won't live past midnight tonight, so let's prepare for his funeral. There was no hope. Since even Huang Tian had said so, no one in the entire Jiang City could cure him. Su Wenfeng and Su Wenbin were in complete despair. Tang Dexin and the attending physicians also sighed deeply. However, at this moment, a voice came from outside the door. Who says that this old man won't live past midnight tonight? Everyone turned around at the sound. At this moment, a group of people walked in. At the lead was naturally Su Wanqiu and Su Qimei. Yang Luo trailed behind. "Qimei, Wanqiu, you're here." Su Wenfeng greeted with a face full of grief. "Big brother, how's father?" Su Wanqiu hurriedly asked. Su Qimei also looked at Su Wenfeng with hope. Su Wenfeng's eyes turned red as he shook his head. Divine Dr. Huang said, "Father, won't live past midnight tonight." As soon as these words were spoken, Su Wanqiu and Su Qimei swayed and almost fell. Tears streamed down Su Qingmei's face as she choked out, "Impossible. Grandpa won't die." Divine Dr. Huang, is there really no other way? Su Wanqiu's face was also covered in tears as she looked at Huang Tian. "Sorry, there's nothing I can do." Huang Tian replied before turning to look at Yang Luo. "Kid, did you question my words just now?" "That's right, it was me." Yang Luo nodded. By the side, Tang Dexin frowned and said, "Kid, do you know who this person in front of you is?" "This is the #1 divine doctor in Jiang City, Miracle Dr. Huang, the famous Divine Needle King." Since even Divine Dr. Huang has said so, his words must naturally be true. "What right do you have to question Divine Dr. Huang's words?" Yang Luo chuckled and said, "Could it be that anyone can be conferred the title of Divine Doctor now?" Hearing this, everyone present burst into an uproar. "Kid, do you know what you're talking about? This is Divine Dr. Huang. He's been a doctor for 30 years and has cured thousands of patients. Divine Dr. Huang is even the director of the Chinese Medical Association. He's publicly recognized as the #1 miracle doctor in Jiang City. How can you question him?" The attending physicians spoke one after another, very unhappy with Yang Luo's arrogance. Huang Tian narrowed his eyes at Yang Luo. "Kid, from what you're saying, can you treat old Master Su? How difficult is that?" Yang Luo shrugged. When he entered the ward just now, he had already seen through old Master Su's illness and was 100% sure that he could cure him. Huang Tian laughed mockingly and said, "Kid, if you can really cure old Master Su, I'm willing to take you as my master." Yang Luo curled his lips and said, "Old man, even if you want to take me as your master, I don't want to take you in as my disciple." These words immediately angered everyone present. This kid was clearly looking down on Divine Dr. Huang. Huang Tian's expression also darkened upon hearing those words. With his experience as a doctor for many years, no matter where he went, he would be treated as an honored guest and given the necessary respect. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation today. "Wanqiu Qimei, who is this kid?" Su Wenfeng asked coldly, looking at Yang Luo with anger. Su Qimei hurriedly said, "Uncle, this is Mr. Yang, Yang Luo. Not long ago, Aunt's myocardial inflammation acted up. It was Mr. Yang who alleviated her discomfort. That's why Aunt and I invited Mr. Yang over to help treat Grandpa. She originally wanted to invite Yang Luo here to try. However, who knew that Yang Luo would offend Divine Dr. Huang the moment he arrived? This made her feel a loss as to how and what she should do." "Oh." A hint of surprise flashed in Su Wenfeng's eyes. "Kid, are you also a doctor?" "That's right. I'm a doctor." Yang Luo nodded. "Can you really cure my father?" Su Wenfeng asked again. "Yes." Yang Luo only spat out a word in a firm tone. Tang Dexin sneered, "Kid, since you said that you're a doctor, which medical university did you graduate from?" "I've never been to any medical university." Yang Luo shook his head. "Heh." Tang Dexin sneered, "Kid, you haven't even attended a medical university, yet you dare to call yourself a doctor? Are you kidding me?" As he spoke, he turned to Su Wenfeng and said, "City Lord Su, I think this kid is clearly a swindler. Let's quickly chase him away." Su Wenfeng said in a deep voice, "Kid, I don't care who you are. I'll give you 3 seconds to disappear from my sight." Huang Tian said, "City Lord Su, wait." Su Wenfeng said respectfully, "Divine Dr. Huang, what's the matter?" Huang Tian said, "Since this kid was so righteous just now, why don't we give him a chance?" Su Wenfeng and the others were stunned, not understanding what Huang Tian meant. Huang Tian turned to look at Yang Luo and said, "Kid, since you said that you can treat old Master Su, please tell me about old Master Su's illness." The others also looked at Yang Luo with interest. They also understood that Huang Tian wanted to see Yang Luo embarrass himself. Yang Luo did not hesitate and said directly, "This old man's lungs, waist, and legs all have varying forms of injury, and many years have passed. This old man could still withstand it when he was young, but now that he was old, his physical functions had decreased in all aspects, so he naturally could not withstand the hidden injuries any longer. Fortunately, this old man's physical fitness is good, allowing him to last until today. Otherwise, he would have died long ago." Hearing this, Huang Tian, Tang Dexin, and the others were shocked. What Yang Luo said was exactly the same as the results of their examination. Through the Su family, they learned that Su Guoxiong had fought several battles for China back then, which was why he was covered in injuries. But how did this kid know? Huang Tian quickly reacted and said, "This should be what Third Madam and Miss Su told you, right?" Su Qimei shook her head repeatedly. "Divine Dr. Huang, I didn't mention Grandpa's illness to Mr. Yang." "What?" Huang Tian's expression changed as he stared at Yang Luo. "Then how did this kid know?" "Of course I can tell." Yang Luo shrugged and said, "Old man, since you're a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, you shouldn't not know about this concept called diagnosis through observation, right?" Well, Huang Tian was left speechless. He knew better than anyone that Chinese medicine emphasized on 4 methods of diagnosis for patients. However, even he could not tell how many illnesses a patient had merely through observation. For example, he could not tell old Master Su's illness just by simply observing him. To be able to see through all kinds of difficult illnesses at a glance, how superb was this kid's medical skills. However, this kid looked like he was only in his 20s. Even if he started learning Chinese medicine in his mother's womb, how brilliant could his medical skills be? Huang Tian took a deep breath and said, "Kid, it seems that you still have some real talent." Yang Luo smiled and said, "At least I'm better than you." "You." These words angered Huang Tian so much that his chest heaved up and down rapidly. However, at this moment, the way everyone looked at Yang Luo also changed slightly. After all, there were not many young people who could be praised by Huang Tian. Huang Tian suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "Kid, since you said that you can treat old Master Su, I'll give you a chance." "Divine Dr. Huang, are we really going to let this kid treat him?" Su Wenfeng immediately became nervous. "Yeah, Divine Dr. Huang, what if something happens?" Tang Dexin also spoke out worriedly. In the end, they still looked down on Yang Luo. Huang Tian said loudly, "If anything really happens, I'll take responsibility." Since Divine Dr. Huang said that he wanted to take responsibility, they could not say anything else. Yang Luo looked at Huang Tian and said, "Old man, your medical skills are not good, but you're quite responsible." These words made Huang Tian's eyebrows twitch in anger. "I, Huang Tian, am a responsible person. Do I need you to say that? All right, I won't talk nonsense with you anymore. Hurry up, let's begin." Yang Luo said before walking to the bed. "Mr. Yang, can you really cure my grandfather?" Su Qimei looked at Yang Luo with pitiful puppy dog eyes. "Don't worry." Yang Luo gave Su Qimei a reassuring look. Su Wenfeng stared intently at Yang Luo and said, "Kid, if you can cure my father, my Su family will owe you a huge favor. However, if you can't cure it, I'll hold you responsible. Just wait and see." Yang Luo replied indifferently before extending his hand. "I came in a hurry and didn't bring any silver needles. Let me borrow them." "Here." Huang Tian handed over his silver needles. Yang Luo took the silver needle and began to perform acupuncture on Su Guoxiong. The others surrounded him. They also wanted to see if Yang Luo had true ability. Swish! Yang Luo directly mobilized the true qi in his body and injected it into the silver needles. Then, he moved like the wind and stabbed the first silver needle firmly into one of the acupoints on Su Guoxiong's body. When the first silver needle landed, it began to tremble gently, even emitting a golden light. Seeing this scene, everyone present was dumbfounded. They thought that Yang Luo was performing a trick. This is the Providence Needle. Seeing this, Huang Tian could not help but exclaim, "Divine Dr. Huang, what is this Providence Needle?" Su Wenfeng asked in confusion. Huang Tian explained in a low voice, "The Providence Needle is a method to perform acupuncture. It utilizes the true qi in one's body to perform acupuncture. It can only be used when one has cultivated the acupuncture technique to an extremely high realm. Perhaps this kid can really cure old Master Su. As soon as these words were spoken, the way Su Wenfeng and Su Wenbin looked at Yang Luo changed. Since Huang Tian had said so, perhaps this kid was really capable. At this moment, Yang Luo's expression was extremely focused. The silver needles fell one after another and accurately stabbed the various acupoints on Su Guoxiong's body. When the 9th needle landed, success! Yang Luo exhaled softly and retracted his hand. My God! Could this be the 9 needles of heavenly Tao? Huang Tian could no longer suppress the excitement in his heart and shouted. His face was flushed and his eyes were wide open. His breathing quickened rapidly while looking at the scene in front of him. Divine Dr. Huang, what's the 9 needles of heavenly Tao? Tang Dixin asked in curiosity. Huang Tian swallowed and said, from ancient times to the present, the divine continent could be said to have passed down many acupuncture techniques. However, among the many acupuncture techniques, 10 of them are the most powerful. These techniques can revive the dead and snatch one's life from the grasp of the Yama King. Therefore, these 10 acupuncture techniques were ranked on the divine needle list. Even the 9 needles of revolving yang that I had learned is only ranked 10th, but the 9 needles of heavenly Tao is ranked first on the divine needle list. Back then, I had some understanding of the 9 needles of heavenly Tao in an ancient book. I originally thought that this acupuncture technique had been lost, but I didn't expect to see it today. I, Huang Tian, will die without regrets. Yang Luo turned to look at Huang Tian and said, Old man, you're quite knowledgeable. Huang Tian looked at Yang Luo excitedly and said, Mr. Yang, where did you learn the 9 needles of heavenly Tao? Yang Luo replied, my master taught me. Then who is your master? Huang Tian continued to ask. Yang Luo shook his head and said, I don't know my master's name either. Huang Tian sighed in admiration. Looks like your master is a true hermit expert. No matter how powerful this so-called 9 needles of heavenly Tao is, isn't old Master Su still unconscious? An attending doctor muttered softly. However, just as he finished speaking, cough, cough. Accompanied by a cough, Su Guoxiong, who was lying on the bed, slowly opened his eyes. In an instant, the entire ward fell silent. Everyone looked at Su Guoxiong, who was on the bed, in shock. They thought they were seeing things. He was awake. Su Guoxiong, whose life was on the line, had really woken up. Especially the attending doctor who was muttering softly just now, he felt his face burn. This slap in the face was too fast. Hurry up and check old Master Su's body. Tang Dixin hurriedly gave the order. The attending physicians quickly checked Su Guoxiong's body with various instruments. An attending doctor reported, Dean, old Master Su's physical parameters have returned to normal. Everything was back to normal. At this moment, Tang Dixin and the attending physicians were stunned on the spot, not knowing what to say. Su Guoxiong was really cured by this young man. Moreover, it only took more than 10 minutes. A divine doctor. This was a true divine doctor. Grandpa, Dad. Su Wenfeng, Su Wenbin, Su Wanqiu, and Su Qimei cried tears of joy and quickly surrounded him. Su Guoxiong smiled gently. Wenfeng, Wenbin, Wanqiu, Qimei, you're all here. Su Qimei choked. Grandpa, how do you feel? Does your body still hurt? Su Guoxiong said, I feel much better. My body doesn't hurt anymore. As he spoke, he looked at Huang Tian and said, Thank you for saving me, Divine Dr. Huang. No, no, no. Huang Tian waved his hand repeatedly. Old Master Su, I'm not the one who saved you. It was this young man. Su Guoxiong turned to look at Yang Luo in disbelief. Divine Dr. Huang, stop joking. I know my own body very well. Ordinary people can't treat it at all. How can this kid treat it? Su Qimei said, Grandpa, Mr. Yang really saved you. The others nodded repeatedly. Seeing everyone nod, Su Guoxiong's expression changed. He still could not believe it and asked once more, Kid, did you really save me? Yang Luo spread his hands. Believe it or not. All right, all right. As expected, the new generation surpasses the old. Kid, you're not bad. Su Guoxiang said excitedly, "Kid, you saved me. That's a huge favor. My Su family will definitely thank you heavily." At this moment, Su Wenbin walked forward and handed Yang Luo a bank card. "Mr. Yang, thank you for saving my father. There's 50 million in this card, and the password is the last 6 digits of the card number. Of course, this bit of money is nothing compared to the gratitude of you saving our patriarch. In the future, no matter what requests you have, you can contact our Su family directly." Yang Luo took the bank card and casually put it in his pocket without looking at it. This scene made the admiration in Su Guoxiang's eyes intensify. "Mr. Yang, please take me in as your disciple." Suddenly, Huang Tian bowed deeply to Yang Luo, his eyes filled with anticipation and nervousness. Seeing Huang Tian acknowledge Yang Luo as his master, everyone present was stunned. Huang Tian was a famous figure in the Chinese medicine world. But now, Huang Tian was actually acknowledging a young man dozens of years younger than him as his master. If word got out, the entire Jiang city would definitely be in an uproar. Yang Luo looked at Huang Tian indifferently and said, "Old man, I didn't want to take in a disciple, but on account that you're a good person, I can consider it." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present turned pale. Huang Tian put down his pride and accepted him as his master. This kid actually said that he wanted to consider it? However, Huang Tian was not angry at all. Instead, he said happily, "All right, all right, all right. Mr. Yang, consider it carefully. I'll wait for your answer at any time." With that, Huang Tian exchanged contact details with Yang Luo before leaving. After Huang Tian left, Tang Dexin walked over again with a smile on his face. "Mr. Yang, I hope you can forgive me for offending you just now. Now, I sincerely invite you to come to our central hospital to be the chief physician of the traditional Chinese medicine department. Your annual salary will be 5 million. Seeing Tang Dexin so sincerely invite Yang Luo to the hospital to be the chief physician of the traditional Chinese medicine department and give him an annual salary of 5 million, all the attending physicians present were envious. However, when he thought about how the other party's medical skills were indeed very superb, it was normal for him to be valued by the dean. Yang Luo frowned and said, "Didn't you just say that I'm not considered a doctor if I haven't attended a medical university?" Tang Dexin laughed dryly and said, "Mr. Yang, I was blind to not recognize an expert. Even if some people attend famous medical universities, their medical skills are not even 1/10,000th of yours. As long as you're willing to come to our hospital, this is not a problem." The faces of the attending physicians at the side turned red. They could tell that Tang Dexin was talking about them. Yang Luo shook his head and said, "I'm sorry, but I have no thoughts of being a doctor in the hospital." Well, Tang Dexin felt that it was a pity and tried to persuade further, "Mr. Yang, why don't you reconsider? As long as you're willing to come, I can arrange for you to be the vice dean. Your annual salary can also be increased. Dean Tang, everyone has their own ambitions. Don't force it." At this moment, Su Guoxiang spoke up indifferently. Tang Dexin sighed deeply and handed Yang Luo a business card. "Mr. Yang, I'm really sincere in inviting you. I hope you can reconsider. As long as you've thought it through, you can contact me at any time." Yang Luo nodded and put away his business card. Su Guoxiang addressed Tang Dexin once more. "Dean Tang, go ahead. We have something to discuss." Tang Dexin nodded and left the ward with the rest of the attending physicians. After Tang Dexin and the others left, Su Guoxiang looked at Yang Luo kindly and asked, "Kid, where are you from? Who are your parents?" Yang Luo replied truthfully, "Old Master Su, I don't have a home or parents. My master raised me." "What a poor child." Su Guoxiang sighed and asked, "Then where's your master?" Yang Luo simply replied, "My master went to do something. I don't know where he is now." At the side, Su Qimei and the others were puzzled. They did not know what Su Guoxiang meant. Why did it seem like he was checking Yang Luo's household? Register 1. Su Guoxiang asked in confusion, "Kid, then why did you come to Jiang City?" "I'm here on the orders of my master to fulfill the engagement of the Lu family in Jiang City." Yang Luo did not hide anything and told Su Guoxiang about his encounter in the Lu family. After hearing Yang Luo's words, Su Wenfeng was furious. The Lu family is really going too far. Even if they want to call off the marriage, can't they negotiate nicely? Why are they bullying others like this? The Lu family is indeed too much. Su Wenbin's expression also turned cold. Su Qimei and Su Wanqiu immediately understood what was going on. No wonder Yang Luo had a conflict with the Lu family. It was because of this. Su Guoxiang's expression also darkened, but he quickly revealed a happy smile. Grandpa, what are you laughing at? Su Qimei looked puzzled. I'm laughing at the Lu family for not recognizing such a good son-in-law. Su Guoxiang smiled and shook his head. Then he said, if the Lu family doesn't want it, our Su family will. Qimei, choose a time. Marry little Luo. Huh? Yang Luo and Su Qimei were stunned at the same time as they turned to Su Guoxiang with wide eyes. Su Wenfeng, Su Wenbin, and Su Wanqiu were also left stunned by this piece of news. Su Wenbin said, Father, isn't this a little too rash? That's right, Father. Let Qimei decide her own personal problems. Father, why don't you consider it carefully? There are many ways to repay Mr. Yang. There's no need to use such a method, right? Su Wenfeng and Su Wanqiu also spoke out. Su Guoxiang looked at Su Qimei and asked, Qimei, do you hate this kid? Not really. Su Qimei shook her head and continued, but I just met Mr. Yang today. I don't have any emotional foundation. Feelings can be nurtured later. Su Guoxiang chuckled and looked at Yang Luo in return. Kid, what do you think of Qimei? Yang Luo said, not only is Miss Su beautiful, but she's also dignified. She's a true noble lady. But I've only just met Miss Su, and we're already talking about marriage. Since you don't hate each other, you can totally get married. Su Guoxiang waved his hand and interrupted. I've made up my mind. No one can persuade me anymore. The reason why he wanted Su Qimei and Yang Luo to marry was because he thought of something from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, a mysterious old Taoist had read his fortune. The old Taoist priest told him that in 10 years, he would encounter a death tribulation. Moreover, someone with the fate of the 9 heavenly emperors would appear and resolve his death tribulation. If he could make that person stay, the Su family would rise to a higher level. What happened today corresponded to what the old Taoist had said, so he wanted to keep Yang Luo. Perhaps Yang Luo was the person with the fate of the 9 heavenly emperors. Su Wenbin also knew that no one could change his father's decision. However, he still felt that it was a little rash to make such a huge decision immediate. Why? Thinking of this, he said, Father, since you really want to matchmake the two of them, I don't think there's a need to be in such a hurry. We can let them get engaged first. After the engagement, let them spend some time together. If possible, we'll officially get married for them. What do you think? Su Wenfeng immediately chimed in. Second brother makes sense. I think we can let them get engaged first. That works too. Then let them get engaged first. Su Guoxiang nodded and commanded, Wenfeng, Wenbin, Wanqiu, make the preparations. 3 days later, there will be an engagement banquet for Qimei and little Luo. My granddaughter's engagement banquet must be lively and grand. After a pause, Su Guoxiang added, remember to invite the Lu family to the engagement banquet. I want to see what expression the Lu family will have when they see little Luo become our Su family son-in-law. Yes, father. Su Wenfeng, Su Wenbin, and Su Wanqiu nodded in agreement. Su Guoxiang turned to Su Qimei and said, Qimei, let little Luo stay with you in the future. You young people should get along well. Yes, Grandpa. Su Qimei shook her head helplessly. Then, because Su Guoxiang and the others still had something to talk about, Yang Luo and Su Qimei left the ward together. After coming out of the hospital, Yang Luo felt like he was in a dream. He had come down the mountain to fulfill an engagement, but now he actually found himself another beautiful fiancé. Su Qimei also felt like she was dreaming. She did not expect to be engaged to a man she had just met. To be honest, she was unwilling, but she did not want to go against her grandfather's wishes. There was a long silence between the both of them. Then Yang Luo spoke, Miss Su, if you're unwilling, I'll tell old Master Su now. Don't. Su Qimei stopped him. Grandpa has just recovered. I don't want to make Grandpa angry. Then are we really getting engaged? Yang Luo looked at Su Qimei with a complicated expression. It was not a loss for him to be engaged to such a peerless beauty. Moreover, not long ago, He had accidentally touched this woman's body and sensed that this woman's physique was actually the innate pure Yang body he was supposed to be searching for. The innate pure Yang body was perfectly compatible with his innate pure Yang body. If they could perform dual cultivation, he would be able to balance out his excessive Yang energy. Not only could he protect his life, but he could also improve his cultivation. That was why he agreed to Old Master Su's request. In short, even if he did not get engaged to this woman, he did not intend to leave her for the next 3 years. Su Qimei took a deep breath and said, "Yang Luo, let's get engaged according to Grandpa's wishes first. After a period of time, when Grandpa's health completely recovers, we'll tell Grandpa to annul our engagement." Yang Luo was about to speak when Su Qimei continued, "I'm staying in Villa 8 of the Imperial River Court. This is the key to my villa. You can go back first. I still have something on in my company, so I won't go back with you." As she spoke, Su Qimei handed Yang Luo a key before getting into the car and leaving the hospital. After watching Su Qimei leave, Yang Luo took a taxi straight to the Imperial River Court. The Imperial River Court was one of the top high-end villa districts in Jiang City. A villa within this community cost at least 50 million yuan. Yang Luo held the key and stood at the entrance of Villa number 8. He could not help but sigh in his heart, "My fiancé is really rich." Now that he had just arrived in Jiang City and had nowhere to go for the time being, it was not bad to stay here. After entering the villa, Yang Luo went straight to the living room and sat on the sofa. "Old fart, I did as you asked, but the other party broke the contract. You can't blame me for this." Yang Luo sighed. Then, he raised his left hand and looked at an ancient black ring on his middle finger. This black ring was given to him by the old man. It was called a storage ring, and there was a space of 100 square meters inside that could allow him to store many things. Yang Luo transferred his true qi, taking out a palm-sized black and gold token from his storage ring. According to the old man, this token was called the Divine Emperor token. As long as he held the Divine Emperor token, he could take over the huge international organization that the old man had established. However, Yang Luo still did not believe what the old man said. He felt that the old man was fooling him. Of course, whether it was true or not, he would see about it later. After putting the Divine Emperor token back into his storage ring, Yang Luo took out 5 more photos. In these 5 photos were 5 little girls, ranging from a few years old to in their teens. Although they looked very young, it was not difficult to tell that these 5 little girls were all beauties. Yang Luo gently stroked the 5 photos and muttered, "Eldest senior sister, second senior sister, third senior sister, fourth senior sister, fifth senior sister, Luo misses you so much." Looking at the little girl in the 5 photos, a hint of longing appeared in Yang Luo's eyes. He also thought of the days when he used to practice and play with his 5 senior sisters. Back then, he was only 3 or 4 years old. His 5 senior sisters took good care of him and would think of him whenever there was anything delicious or fun. Because he had been orphaned since he was young and was adopted by the old man, other than the old man, these 5 senior sisters were the ones who treated him the best. "Senior sisters, I hope we can meet as soon as possible." Yang Luo sniffed and put the 5 photos into his storage ring. However, this time, not only did he have to fulfill his engagement and find his 5 senior sisters to take over that organization, but he also had to investigate his background and parents. Previously, he had asked the old man many times who his parents were and where they were, but the old man never said anything. He only dropped the hint that Yang Luo would find out when he was strong enough. "Dad, Mom, I'll definitely find you." Yang Luo swore in his heart. Then, he closed his eyes and began to cultivate. When he went down the mountain, the old man had also said that although he had already achieved a certain level of strength, he could not neglect his cultivation. After all, there was always someone better. This world was far from as simple as he had imagined. As for Yang Luo, he cultivated an immortal cultivation technique called the 9 Heavens Dragon Taming Technique. According to the old man, this cultivation technique was very powerful, and it was even considered the #1 immortal cultivation technique in the world. After cultivating it to the large success stage, it was enough to shock the world and make ghosts and gods cry. Of course, in addition to cultivating internal strength, the old fart also taught him an external technique called the 8-9 mysteries. It was said that after cultivating it to the large success stage, one's fleshly shell would be undying and indestructible, and their body would become a sage. TL note, 8-9 is the direct translation, but it can also refer to their multiplication, which is 72. Possibly a reference to the Monkey King's 72 transformations. Although he had only cultivated to the small success realm, he was already invulnerable to mortal weapons and impervious to fire and water. As Yang Luo cultivated, the spiritual qi gathered from all directions and surged into his body. A faint golden dragon coiled around his body, mysterious and unfathomable. Time slowly passed. When Yang Luo opened his eyes again, he realized that it was already nighttime. However, what depressed Yang Luo was that ever since his cultivation level stepped into the middle stage of the foundation establishment realm, it had been stagnant and he could no longer cultivate to a higher realm. The old fart had told him that there were many realms on the path of cultivation. The early stages were the Qi refinement realm, the foundation establishment realm, the transcending mortality realm, the soul formation realm, and the Tao convergence realm. Once one crossed the Tao convergence realm, they could step into the Earth Immortal realm and become a true Earth Immortal. However, now that he had not even crossed the foundation establishment realm, how could he become an Earth Immortal? The spiritual energy in the city was still too thin. He had to think of a way to resolve this problem. Yang Luo thought for a moment and planned to go to the apothecary in the city center to buy some herbs to refine pills to assist in his cultivation. Coincidentally, he was also hungry, so he went out for a meal. Yang Luo left the Imperial River Court and took a taxi to the city center. After going around in circles, Yang Luo went to a few apothecaries, but he only managed to buy a few herbs. Most of the herbs could not be bought. Unknowingly, Yang Luo arrived at the entrance of a medicine hall called the 100 Herbs Residence. This medical hall had an ancient style and occupied a large area. It was 3 floors tall and was larger than the few other places he had been to before. Moreover, the business of the apothecary was very good, and there was an endless stream of people coming to see the doctor and buy medicine. I should be able to buy the herbs I need here, right? Yang Luo muttered to himself before walking into the 100 Herbs residence. Unfortunately, Yang Luo still only bought a few herbs in the end. There was still half of the herbs in the list that he had yet to buy. Just as Yang Luo was about to leave, an anxious shout suddenly came from behind. Someone! Save my wife! Yang Luo turned around and saw a middle-aged man running in with a middle-aged woman in his arms. The middle-aged man was wearing a white shirt and black-framed glasses. He looked gentle and scholarly. However, at this moment, the middle-aged man's forehead was covered in sweat. His expression was anxious, and he was already panicking. Yang Luo looked at the woman in the middle-aged man's arms and immediately understood what was going on. At this moment, a middle-aged man in a white tang suit and a few waiters from the medical center were alarmed and quickly walked over. This middle-aged man in a white tang suit was one of the attending physicians of the 100 Herbs residence. His name was Sun Dezheng, and his medical skills were brilliant. He was already quite famous in this area. Sir, what happened? Sun Dezheng hurriedly asked. The middle-aged man hurriedly replied, Doctor, not long ago, I finished dinner with my wife and wanted to take a walk by the road. However, I didn't expect my wife to suddenly faint on the way. Sun Dizheng said, "Hurry up and put your madam on the bed." "All right." The middle-aged man nodded and quickly placed the middle-aged woman on a bed in the medical center. Then, Sun Dizheng reached out to take the middle-aged woman's pulse. A few minutes later, Sun Dizheng let go. The middle-aged man quickly asked, "Doctor, what's wrong with my wife?" Sun Dizheng honestly replied, "Your madam went into shock because of a food allergy." "Huh, then is my wife all right?" The middle-aged man got a rude shock. "Don't worry, your madam is fine. She'll wake up after drinking a bowl of medicine." Sun Dizheng waved his hand confidently before instructing an assistant, "Hurry up and get a bowl of 8 treasures soup." "Yes." A waiter nodded in agreement and quickly went to scoop the medicine soup. "Sir, don't worry. Dr. Sun is a famous doctor here. Since Dr. Sun said that he's fine, he must be fine." "That's right. With Dr. Sun's help, your madam will definitely be cured." The surrounding people spoke out one after another. When the middle-aged man heard this, he heaved a sigh of relief. However, at this moment, a voice sounded. "Sigh, quacks mislead people. Who's talking?" Sun Dizheng frowned and turned around. The others also looked over upon hearing the discordant voice. The crowd parted and Yang Luo walked out. "Kid, who are you calling a quack?" Sun Dizheng coldly spoke out. Yang Luo shrugged. "Other than you, who else could it be? How dare you?" Without waiting for Sun Dizheng to speak, an assistant beside him could not take it anymore. "Kid, Dr. Sun is a famous doctor in this area. He has cured countless patients. How dare you call Dr. Sun a quack?" Yang Luo said indifferently, "This guy hasn't even completely understood the patient's situation and has already come to a conclusion. If he's not a quack, what is he? What nonsense." The assistant roared and said, "A guy who hasn't even grown his hair out dares to question Dr. Sun? What a joke. Young man, don't be in the limelight here. Dr. Sun's medical skills are not something you can question." Someone in the crowd spoke. The others looked at Yang Luo with disdain, feeling that Yang Luo was just trying to please the crowd. The middle-aged man also looked at Yang Luo unhappily. Young people nowadays would really use all kinds of methods to become famous. Another assistant spoke up at this point. "Don't let this kid hinder Dr. Sun's treatment. Hurry up and chase him out." A few of the assistants immediately sprang forward, preparing to chase Yang Luo away. "Wait." Sun Dizheng raised his hand and said, "Since this young man doubts my medical skills, I still have to let him see if I, Sun Dizheng, am a quack or a proper doctor." When the assistants heard this, they retreated to the side once more. Soon, the assistant who went to get the medicine returned and handed a bowl of medicinal soup to Sun Dizheng. Sun Dizheng took the medicinal soup and fed the middle-aged woman a few spoonfuls. Then he said, "This madam will wake up in 5 minutes at most." "Really? That's great." The middle-aged man was overjoyed, his eyes filled with anticipation. Quickly, 5 minutes passed. However, what puzzled everyone was that the middle-aged woman did not wake up. The middle-aged man asked respectfully, "Dr. Sun, why isn't my wife awake yet?" The others also had on expressions of puzzlement. Sun Dizheng frowned and said, "Sir, wait a few more minutes. Your madam will wake up soon." The middle-aged man nodded and did not say anything else. A few more minutes passed, but the woman still showed no signs of waking up. "Dr. Sun, what's going on?" The middle-aged man became even more anxious. "That's strange. Could it be that Dr. Sun also makes mistakes?" Someone muttered softly. Sun Dizheng's expression became uglier and uglier as he heard all the comments. He said, "Sir, please wait a moment. I'll invite my master to take a look at your madam." With that, Sun Dizheng rushed upstairs. Not long after, Sun Dizheng walked down with a fat old man in a gray tang suit. His hair was gray, yet his face was ruddy, appearing in great health. "Oh my God, I didn't expect Divine Dr. Chow to be in the medical hall." There was a gasp from the crowd. "Who is Divine Dr. Chow?" Someone asked. D*MN, you don't even know Divine Dr. Chow? There are a total of 4 divine doctors in Jiang City. The Divine Needle King, Huang Tian, is in first place, while Chao Jixing is in second place. He's known as the 100 Herbs King. Someone explained. That was right. The fat old man in front of them was Chao Jixing, the 100 Herbs King, who was ranked second among the 4 divine doctors in Jiang City. Everyone looked at Chao Jixing with respect and admiration. Master, this madam was clearly in shock because of a food allergy, but why didn't she wake up after taking the 8 treasures soup? Sun Dijing asked Chao Jixing respectfully. Chao Jixing strode over. He first looked at the middle-aged woman's expression before reaching out to take her pulse. A few minutes later, Chao Jixing retracted his hand and was so angry that he blew his beard and glared at Sun Dijing. He berated, "What nonsense! Little son, you haven't even figured out this madam's situation, and you're already making a blind conclusion. This is a matter of life and death. We can't do anything rash." Hearing this, Sun Dijing was dumbfounded. What was going on? Why did his master's words sound exactly the same as that young man's? Could it be that his diagnosis was really wrong? Sun Dijing wiped the sweat off his forehead and nodded. "Please guide me, master." Chao Jixing said, "This madam is indeed in shock due to a food allergy, but it's also because of this that her gastrointestinal function is also in chaos. If this is not treated in time, it will cause abdominal pain and indigestion. Therefore, the 8 treasures soup can't solve the problem at all. You will need to let her consume the living blood essence nourishing soup." Disciple has learned from this. Sun Dijing bowed deeply to Chao Jixing. By the side, a quick-witted assistant hurriedly went to scoop the soup. Yang Luo nodded in satisfaction and said, "Looks like this medical center isn't filled with quacks." Chao Jixing glanced at Yang Luo and asked curiously, "Who is this kid?" Sun Dijing hurriedly told Chao Jixing what had happened. After hearing Sun Dijing's words, Chao Jixing looked at Yang Luo and frowned. "Kid, you have to be down to earth. Don't think that you can show off everywhere just because you've learned a little about medicine. Do you think you're very knowledgeable? You have to know that there's always someone better. There are many people who have much stronger abilities than yourself." In his opinion, Yang Luo was so young and should be a student of the medical university. He thought that he knew a little about medicine and was now showing off everywhere. Everyone present nodded in agreement. They felt that Chao Jixing made sense. Yang Luo only shrugged and did not say anything else. If not for the fact that he could not stand it anymore, he would not have stood up and interfered. Moreover, he was extremely confident in his medical skills. In this world, other than the old fart he called his master, no one could match him. Soon, the staff of the medical center once again served a bowl of medicinal soup. However, when he smelled the medicinal soup, Yang Luo frowned again. This was wrong. This medicinal soup was still wrong. Chao Jixing took the medicine and prepared to feed it to the middle-aged woman. Yang Luo quickly interrupted, "Wrong, it's still wrong." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present looked over again. Sun Dijing was immediately furious. "Kid, are you looking for trouble for no reason? It's fine if you doubt me, but you actually dare to doubt my master? My master is the 100 Herbs King. In the entire Jiang City, and even the entire provincial capital, no one dares to be ranked first in terms of pharmacology. Even old Master Huang, the leader of the 4 divine doctors in Jiang City, is slightly inferior to my master in terms of pharmacology. Kid, if you have nothing to do, leave quickly. Don't hinder Divine Dr. Chao's treatment. Kid, I'm afraid you were still playing with mud when Divine Dr. Chao was treating you. Hurry up and leave. Don't cause trouble." Everyone present spoke out one after another, looking at Yang Luo with even more unfriendly gazes. The middle-aged man's expression also darkened. If not for his good manners, he would have chased this young man, who was continuously interfering with the treatment, away. Yang Luo sneered and said, "You have a mistake, and that's a fact. Could it be that you're not going to allow anyone to point out your mistakes?" Chao Jixing immediately lost his temper. He said loudly, "Kid, you're suspecting me, right? All right, let's make a bet." "On what?" Yang Luo's interest was also piqued. Chao Jixing said, "If my bowl of medicine makes this madam's condition improve and she wakes up, then apologize to me immediately." "What if you lose?" Yang Luo asked with a smile. Chao Jixing said, "If I lose, I'll apologize to you." Deal. Yang Luo nodded in agreement. Everyone looked at Yang Luo mockingly, feeling that Yang Luo simply did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. A kid who had yet to grow his hair thought that he had learned some medical skills and dared to bet with divine Dr. Chao. Was he not asking to be humiliated? Chao Jixing ignored Yang Luo and quickly fed the middle-aged woman a few spoonfuls of medicine. Then, Chao Jixing raised his head and said, "This madam will wake up in less than 3 minutes." Everyone nodded. Since divine Dr. Chao had said so, there was no mistake. Once again, the 3 minutes quickly passed. The middle-aged woman on the bed had regained color in her face and had stopped sweating. She looked much better. As expected of divine Dr. Chao. A bowl of medicine and you can immediately see its effects. That's right. Once divine Dr. Chao makes a move, we will just wait for the good news. Everyone praised and flattered him. Chao Jixing enjoyed it very much and even gave Yang Luo a smug look. However, what puzzled everyone was that 3 minutes had passed, but the middle-aged woman still did not wake up. Divine Dr. Chao, why hasn't my madam woken up yet? The middle-aged man became even more anxious. Sun Dezheng comforted him, "Sir, don't worry. Your madam will wake up soon." "Sir, there's no doubt about divine Dr. Chao's medical skills. Let's wait a little longer." The surrounding people also spoke out, telling the middle-aged man not to worry. "Fine." The middle-aged man nodded and did not say anything else. Time slowly passed, and another 3 minutes passed. However, the middle-aged woman still did not wake up. This time, Chao Jixing could no longer sit still. He frowned and said, "That's strange. Am I really wrong with my diagnosis? Divine Dr. Chao, what's wrong with my madam? Why isn't she awake yet?" The middle-aged man was sweating profusely from anxiety, and his face was a little pale. The others present also whispered to each other, not knowing what had happened. Could it be that divine Dr. Chao really made a mistake? "Sir, don't be anxious. I'll take another look at your madam." Chao Jixing raised his hand and took the middle-aged woman's pulse again. However, after taking his pulse, Chao Jixing's frown deepened. "Master this." Sun Dezheng was also a little flustered. "Don't speak. Let me think about it." Chao Jixing berated in frustration. Yang Luo sighed and shook his head. He directly said, "Old man, this madam has been allergic to food for more than a year or 2. Moreover, her stomach has long had some problems. As the saying goes, a serious illness requires strong medicine. One does not need to break the drum to produce a loud sound, so this living blood essence nourishing soup only needs to increase the quantity of 2 herbs within." "Heh, I say, kid, you're not done yet." A shop assistant immediately turned furious. However, Chao Jixing seemed to have thought of something. His eyes lit up as he hurriedly asked, "Which 2 herbs?" Yang Luo said clearly and confidently, "Licorice and 5 flavors." "Puh." Chao Jixing slapped his thigh and said excitedly, right. I felt that something was missing from this medicinal soup just now. So that's how it is. As he spoke, Chao Jixing hurriedly handed the bowl to Sun Dezheng and said, "Little son, quickly add 2 more coins worth of licorice to the medicinal soup and 3 coins of 5 flavors." "Yes." Sun Dezheng took the previously used bowl and left in a hurry. At this moment, everyone present looked at Yang Luo again, their eyes filled with surprise. Could it be that this kid was right again? However, looking at divine Dr. Chao's expression just now, it seemed like this kid had given divine Dr. Chao some guidance. Could it be that this kid was even better than divine Dr. Chao? In just a short moment, Sun Dezheng ran back with a bowl and handed it to Chao Jixing. Chao Jixing took the bowl and immediately fed the middle-aged woman a few spoonfuls of medicine. After waiting for about 3 minutes, everyone saw that the originally comatose woman slowly opened her eyes. "She's awake. This madam is awake." Amazing. It's really amazing. You only increased the quantity of 2 herbs, but madam was cured. Everyone present exclaimed in surprise. "Chao Xian, what's wrong with me?" The middle-aged woman looked at the middle-aged man and asked in confusion. The middle-aged man quickly helped the middle-aged woman up and said gently, "Manxue, You went into shock because of your food allergy just now. It was this divine Dr. Chow who saved you. Hurry up and thank him." The middle-aged woman hurriedly thanked him. "Thank you, divine Dr. Chow." "Thank you, divine Dr. Chow." The middle-aged man also quickly went forward to thank him. Chao Jixing sighed and pointed at Yang Luo, who was not far away. He said to the middle-aged man, "Sir, I didn't save your madam this time, but this little brother did." The middle-aged man hurriedly walked over and bowed deeply to Yang Luo. "Thank you for saving my madam, little brother." As he spoke, the middle-aged man quickly took out a check and a card from his pocket and handed them to Yang Luo. He said, "Little brother, my name is Lin Chaoxian. This is a check for 2 million. Also, this is our Drunken River Moon Restaurant's diamond membership card. In the future, if you go to any Drunken River Moon restaurant for a meal, it will be free." Could this gentleman be the founder of the Drunken River Moon Restaurant, Lin Chaoxian? It's said that the Drunken River Moon Restaurant is a high-end restaurant. A meal is at least thousands or tens of thousands. Moreover, the Drunken River Moon Restaurant has already opened several in Jiang City. It has even opened in other cities. Everyone exclaimed and looked at Yang Luo enviously. To be able to get to know such a big shot, there was no doubt that he would benefit from them in the future. Yang Luo did not hesitate. He took the check and membership card and casually put them in his pocket. A hint of admiration appeared in Lin Chaoxuan's eyes as he said, "Little brother, what's your name?" "My name is Yang Luo." Lin Chaoxian nodded and continued, "Mr. Yang, I'm very willing to make friends. I hope we can interact more in the future." In his opinion, Yang Luo's medical skills were actually better than Chao Jixing's. He was definitely a true divine doctor. It was beneficial to be on good terms with him. Yang Luo also felt that Lin Chaoxian was a good person, so he exchanged contact information with him. At this moment, Chao Jixing also walked over and sighed, "I didn't expect you to have such brilliant medical skills at such a young age. I apologize for offending you just now." Yang Luo curled his lips and said, "Old man, your medical skills are actually not bad. However, if you want to have a deeper understanding of Chinese medicine, you should restrain your arrogance and impatience. Calm down, put down all the fame and fortune in the world, and focus on research. This old man will remember it." Chao Jixing nodded like a student listening to a lecture. "Divine Dr. Chow, you and Mr. Yang have contributed to saving my madam this time. I hope you can accept this check and membership card as well." Lin Chaoxian also handed Chao Jixing a check for 2 million yuan and a membership card. "I'll feel guilty if I accept this." Chao Jixing waved his hand, unwilling to accept it. Lin Chaoxian said, "Divine Dr. Chow, I also want to befriend you. I hope you can give me some face." Yang Luo said in amusement, "Old man, don't be so superficial. Just accept it." All right. I'll accept it. I'll take it as a lesson." Chao Jixing smiled happily and accepted the check and membership card. "I'll treat the two of you to a meal when I have time later." Lin Chaoxian bade farewell and left the medical center with his wife. After Lin Chaoxian left, Yang Luo also prepared to leave. After being delayed for so long, he had yet to eat. "Little brother, wait." However, Chao Jixing suddenly stopped Yang Luo. "Anything else?" Yang Luo looked puzzled. Chao Jixing took out a piece of paper from his pocket and handed it to Yang Luo. He said, "Little brother, this is a prescription I obtained from an ancient medical book. It said that this prescription can nurture one's essence and extend one's lifespan. However, after I took the medicine according to this prescription, the effect was not that good. I wonder what the problem is." Yang Luo took the prescription and took a look. He immediately commented, "This should be a prescription left behind by the medicine king, Sun Simiao." Yes. This is the prescription left behind by Sun Simiao." Chao Jixing nodded excitedly. Clearly, he did not expect Yang Luo to see through the origin of the prescription at a glance. Yang Luo said, "This prescription is not wrong overall, but there's one herb that's wrong." "Which herb?" Chao Jixing hurriedly asked. Yang Luo said, "The scorching grass. If we change the scorching grass to the scorching winter flower, then this prescription is the right one." The Immortal Doctor Classics, that the old fart had taught him was a compilation of all the famous prescriptions from ancient times. Sun Simiao's prescription was also recorded in it, so he could naturally tell at a glance. Scorching grass. Scorching winter flower. Chao Jixing muttered to himself and looked at the prescription a few more times. He was overjoyed. I see. I see. Little brother, you're the real divine doctor. As he spoke, Chao Jixing bowed deeply to Yang Luo and said, Little brother, I want to take you as my master. I hope you can take me in as your disciple. Just as he finished his sentence, everyone in the medical center was shocked, their faces filled with disbelief. Chao Jixing, who was ranked second among the 4 famous doctors in Jiang City, was actually acknowledging a young man as his master. Could it be that this kid was the real divine doctor? Yang Luo was speechless. Why did all of them want to take him as their master? During the day, that old man, Huang Tian, wanted to take him as his master. In the evening, this fat old man, Chao Jixing, also wanted to take him as his master. Seeing that Yang Luo was silent, Chao Jixing rolled his eyes and said, Master, are you here to get some medicine? Yes. Yang Luo nodded and said, Hey, I haven't agreed yet. Don't address me blindly. Chao Jixing grinned and said, Master, what medicine do you want? Helpless towards his form of address, Yang Luo took out a pill prescription and handed it to Chao Jixing. Chao Jixing took the prescription and looked at it for a long time, but he could not tell what kind of prescription it was. However, he knew most of the herbs inside. Therefore, he said, Master, I don't have the 1,000-year-old Lingji you want, but I have 100-year-old Lingji. Really? Yang Luo's eyes lit up. It was naturally difficult to find a 1,000-year-old Lingji, but it was not impossible to replace it with a 100-year-old Lingji. Seeing that Yang Luo was interested, Chao Jixing instructed Sun Dezheng, Little son, quickly bring that 100-year-old Lingji over. Sun Dezheng's expression changed as he said, Master, this 100-year-old Lingji is our shop's treasure. Chao Jixing glared at him, as long as your grandmaster wants it, so what if you give this apothecary to him? Yang Luo was caught between laughter and tears. This old man was too funny. Yes, master. Sun Dezheng nodded and hurried upstairs. Not long after, Sunda was running down with a mahogany box the size of a basketball. Chao Jixing took the box and reverently handed it to Yang Luo. Yang Luo took over the box and opened it to take a look. There was a Lingji nestled carefully inside. Although the medicinal effect was far better with a 1,000-year-old Lingji, this was not a bad substitute. Yang Luo closed the box and said, How much is it? Tell me the number. Chao Jixing chuckled and said, Master, how can I accept your money? This 100-year-old Lingji is a gift for you. The corners of Sun Dezheng's mouth twitched as he felt his heart ache. He knew that Chao Jixing had spent 10 million yuan to buy this 100-year-old Lingji from an auction. Now that he had given it away for nothing, how could he not feel the pinch? Yang Luo nodded and said, All right, I'll accept it. Elder Chao, if you have anything you don't understand in the future, you can ask me at any time. As for taking you in as a disciple, I'll consider it. Okay. Chao Jixing nodded repeatedly and said, Think about it carefully. I'm not in a hurry. I'll find other herbs for you later. If I find them, I'll send them to you immediately. Yang Luo nodded and said, Thank you in advance. Then, Yang Luo exchanged contact details with Chao Jixing and left the apothecary. Chao Jixing only retracted his gaze after watching Yang Luo leave. Sun Dezheng said, Master, are you really going to take that kid as your master? What right does that kid have? What do you know? Chao Jixing slapped Sun Dezheng's head and said, Don't think that this little brother is young. His medical attainments are already far above mine. If he can take me in as his disciple, if he can give me some pointers in the future, my medical skills will definitely increase to another level. Just look at yourself. Your medical skills are not good, and your eyesight is not good either. Master is right in his teachings. Sun Dezheng could only nod repeatedly, not daring to say anything else. After Yang Luo left the medical center, he found an empty corner and placed the 100-year-old Lingji in his storage ring. Then he planned to find a place to eat. After walking a few streets, Yang Luo saw a restaurant not far away. It was precisely the Drunken River Moon restaurant whose owner's wife he saved. Seeing that there was no other place to eat nearby, Yang Luo walked towards the Drunken River Moon restaurant. However, just as he reached the entrance of the restaurant, a teasing voice came from behind. "Yo, isn't this that country bumpkin?" Upon hearing the voice, Yang Luo turned around and saw a man and two women dressed in branded clothes walking over. They were Zhao Tianheng, Lu Yue, and Lu Yuding. Yang Luo frowned slightly. Why did he have to meet these three guys here? Lu Yuding sneered. "Bumpkin, you dare to come to the Drunken River Moon for a meal? Do you know how much it costs to eat here? Can you afford it?" During the day at the Lu family villa, she had been slapped by her grandfather because of Su Qimei. She naturally didn't dare to find trouble with Su Qimei, but she could still afford to find trouble with Yang Luo. Yang Luo frowned and said, "What does it have to do with you whether I can afford it or not?" At the same time, Lu Yue looked at Yang Luo with disdain and said, "Yang Luo, you have to know your limits. This is not a place you should come to. Only the boxed lunches sold on the streets are suitable for you." Zhao Tianheng hugged Lu Yue's waist and said arrogantly, "Kid, a single order here costs at least 5,000 yuan. A meal can easily cost over 10,000 yuan. Even if I sell you, will you be worth 10,000 yuan?" Lu Yuding spoke in a shrill tone. "Did you hear that? Get lost. Don't be an eyesore here." Yang Luo said indifferently, "Who said that I need to spend money to eat here?" Lu Yue sneered. "You mean you don't have to spend money to eat here? You want to dine and dash? Do you know what happens when you dine and dash here? At best, you'll be beaten half to death. At worst, you'll spend the rest of your life in jail." Yang Luo sighed softly and said, "Your grandfather is about to die, but you still have the mood to eat, drink, and have fun. You're really bold." With that, Yang Luo ignored the three of them and walked straight into the restaurant. Behind him, Lu Yue shouted angrily, "Bastard, how dare you curse my grandfather? I'll teach you a lesson." Zhao Tianheng said, "Yue, don't be angry. As long as we tell the person in charge of the restaurant about this kid will definitely be chased out." Lu Yue nodded and said, "Yes, yes. We must teach this kid a lesson." After Yang Luo walked into the restaurant, he was led by the attendant to a seat by the window. However, just as he sat down, Lu Yue's voice sounded out. "Ladies and gentlemen, as everyone knows, Drunken River Moon is a high-end restaurant in Jiang City. Not just anyone can enter. But now, Drunken River Moon had actually allowed in a poor guy who wants to dine and dash. Do you all want to dine with this poor bumpkin?" "Miss, who is this poor bastard you're talking about?" A middle-aged man with a Mediterranean hairstyle and a big belly asked. "That's him." Lu Yue pointed at Yang Luo. In an instant, everyone turned towards Yang Luo. "This kid is dressed like a country bumpkin. How did he sneak in?" "Attendant, what's wrong with you? Why can anyone come in just like that? The people who came here to eat are all elites. How can we let any Tom, Dick, or Harry in?" Everyone present expressed their dissatisfaction. By the side, Lu Yue, Lu Yuding, and Zhao Tianheng smiled smugly. They just wanted to see Yang Luo make a fool of himself and then be chased out. Yang Luo's face darkened at their actions. Were these three guys done yet? At this moment, the manager came down from upstairs. After learning about this, the restaurant manager walked towards Yang Luo. "Sir, you're not welcome here. Please leave." The restaurant manager addressed him. Yang Luo said coldly, "You're running a business here. How can you chase your customers away?" The restaurant manager only calmly replied, "Sir, even if I allow you to stay, can you afford it?" Yang Luo shook his head and said, "I don't need money to eat here." Everyone, did you hear that? This bumpkin said he doesn't intend to pay. Lu Yuding called out at the right time. The restaurant immediately went into an uproar. Did I hear wrongly? This kid is really planning to dine and dash. Who gave him the guts? Hurry up and chase this kid out. Don't affect our appetite here. Everyone shouted and clamored, wanting to chase Yang Luo away. The restaurant manager's expression turned even uglier. "Kid, this isn't a place where you can dine and dash. Please leave quickly." At this moment, a few security officers ran over and prepared to chase him away. Yang Luo said, "Mr. Lin said that I don't have to spend money to eat here." Could it be that he was lying? Which Mr. Lin? The restaurant manager asked in confusion. Lin Chaoxian. Yang Luo spat out those 3 words. Behind them, Lu Yuding laughed out loud. Bumpkin, are you trying to say that you know Chairman Lin of the Drunken River Moon? Of course I do. Yang Luo nodded. Hearing this, the expressions of everyone present changed slightly. If this kid really had a good relationship with Chairman Lin, then he might really not have to spend money to eat here. When Lu Yue saw this, she quickly said, "Everyone, don't be fooled by this kid. This kid has just come out of the mountains and is just a wild kid. How can he know Chairman Lin?" The restaurant manager also looked at Yang Luo suspiciously. Yang Luo sighed in his heart. Then, he took out the diamond membership card from his pocket and slapped it on the table. He said, "Could it be that eating here costs money with this membership card?" The restaurant manager quickly picked up the membership card and took a look. He could not help but exclaim, "Diamond membership card." As soon as these words were spoken, the raucous crowd turned silent. This kid actually has Drunken River Moon's diamond membership card? It said that any member with a diamond membership card can eat at any Drunken River Moon restaurant for free. Everyone whispered animatedly, and the way they looked at Yang Luo changed. Zhao Tianheng, Lu Yue, and Lu Yuding's expressions changed drastically as well. One had to know that even they could only apply for gold membership cards. Although they could enjoy preferential treatment and discounts at any Drunken River Moon restaurant, they could not eat for free. Unexpectedly, Yang Luo actually had a diamond membership card. Lu Yue said to the restaurant manager, Manager Wang, "This diamond membership card must have been picked up by this guy." "That's right, he must have picked it up." Lu Yuding also echoed. Zhao Tianheng then added sarcastically, "Manager Wang, if someone eats a free meal in Drunken River Moon with a diamond membership card that they picked up, it won't be good for Drunken River Moon's reputation if word gets out. I'll ask Chairman Lin what's going on." The restaurant manager was also skeptical. He first turned to Yang Luo, "Kid, what's your name?" "Yang Luo." Yang Luo simply replied. The restaurant manager nodded and quickly took out his phone to make a call. A few minutes later, the restaurant manager put away his cell phone and bowed slightly as he handed the diamond membership card to Yang Luo respectfully. He spoke out, "Mr. Yang, Chairman Lin said that you can come to Drunken River Moon for a meal for free at any time." Hearing this, everyone present was instantly dumbfounded. Oh my god, so this kid really knows Chairman Lin. You really can't judge a book by its cover. It's our honor to be able to eat with a guest with a diamond membership card. Everyone's attitude suddenly changed. They revealed a friendly smile at Yang Luo, and some even raised their glasses at Yang Luo. Yang Luo sighed in his heart. This was reality. If you have power and influence, others will believe you and respect you. Zhao Tianheng, Lu Yue, and Lu Yuding were dumbfounded. They did not expect Yang Luo to really know Lin Chaoxian. However, what they could not understand was how this kid knew Lin Chaoxian even after having just come out of the mountains. Yang Luo took the diamond membership card and asked, "Can I order now?" "Yes, of course." The restaurant manager smiled and nodded repeatedly. As he spoke, he instructed a few attendants, "Serve Mr. Yang well. No matter what requests Mr. Yang has, you have to satisfy them." "Yes, Manager Wang." The attendants nodded in agreement. Yang Luo glanced at Zhao Tianheng and the other two and said, "Can you ask these 3 people to move aside? I don't want to see them." The restaurant manager turned to look at Zhao Tianheng and the other two and said, "The 3 of you, please don't disturb Mr. Yang's meal." Zhao Tianheng and the other two glared fiercely at Yang Luo before going to the restaurant's private room. Manager Wang then turned back to smile at Yang Luo and asked, "Mr. Yang, may I help you change to a private room?" "No, it's fine here." Yang Luo shook his head. "All right, you can call me anytime if you need anything." The restaurant manager left after saying that. "Sir, what would you like to eat?" By the side, an attendant asked respectfully. Yang Luo said, "Give me a few of your signature dishes." "Yes, sir." The attendant nodded and left. At this moment, in a private room in the restaurant, I'm so angry, so darned angry. This bumpkin actually knows Chairman Lin and even got a diamond membership card. I really can't take this lying down. Zhao Tianheng and Lu Yue's expressions were also very gloomy. They were obviously very unhappy. Just now, they wanted everyone to laugh at Yang Luo, but they didn't expect themselves to become the joke in the end. Lu Yuding looked at Zhao Tianheng and said, "Brother-in-law, didn't you say that you know the people from the East District's underground world? Why don't you call someone over and beat this kid up to settle this grudge for my sister and I?" Zhao Tianheng patted his chest and said, "All right, leave it to me. Coincidentally, I also have a stomach full of anger that I have nowhere to vent." In the main hall of the restaurant, Yang Luo waited for a while before the attendant brought over a few plates of signature dishes. Every dish was exquisite and looked, smelled, and tasted good. The only thought that Yang Luo had was, this rich man really knows how to enjoy life. After dinner, Yang Luo patted his stomach and walked out of the restaurant. However, just as he walked out of the restaurant, Zhao Tianheng, Lu Yue, and Lu Yuding followed him and stopped Yang Luo. Yang Luo looked at the three of them coldly and said, "Good dogs don't block the way. Get lost." She sneered. "Bumpkin, you've offended us. Don't even think about leaving here unscathed today." Yang Luo frowned and said, "Why? Could it be that you guys still want to fight? Touching you will only dirty our hands." Lu Yue crossed her arms and said, "You dog, someone will teach you a lesson for us." Zhao Tianheng also sneered, "Anyone who offends me, Zhao Tianheng, will not have a good ending." Yang Luo was about to speak, but at this moment, two MPVs drove over from afar and stopped at the entrance of the restaurant. The door opened and 8 gangsters got out of the car, walking over. The leader was a short-haired man in a black shirt with a scar on his face. "Here they come." Zhao Tianheng was overjoyed and quickly went forward. Lu Yue and Lu Yuding also went forward eagerly. "Young Master Zhao, who do you want us to teach a lesson for you?" the short-haired man asked. "Brother Bao, it's that kid." Zhao Tianheng handed over a cigarette and pointed at Yang Luo. "I thought I was going to deal with someone, but it's just a kid?" Brother Bao looked at Yang Luo and shook his head in amusement. Then he asked, "Tell me, young Master Zhao, how do we deal with that kid?" Zhao Tianheng laughed sinisterly and said, "Break this kid's legs. 2 legs aren't enough. Add another hand. You might as well break both his hands." Lu Yue and Lu Yuding spoke up one after another. Brother Bao frowned. Why were these 2 women so ruthless? "Young Master Zhao, who are these 2? Brother Bao asked. Zhao Tianheng said, "This is my fiancé and this is my sister-in-law. Since they said they want to break this kid's legs and hands, let's do it." "All right." Brother Bao nodded and waved his hand. "Brothers, attack." With this order, the 4 hooligans immediately rushed towards Yang Luo. At this moment, the people eating in the restaurant were alarmed by the commotion outside and ran out one after another. Seeing the scene, everyone was shocked. "Damn, isn't this Li Yuanbao from the Eastern Alliance? Why is he here?" It looks like young Master Zhao called them over. Could it be to deal with that kid? Young Master Zhao and that kid weren't on good terms just now. I didn't expect him to call over people so quickly. It's over, it's over. This kid is doomed. Everyone chimed in and looked at Yang Luo with pity. At this moment, the restaurant manager ran out with a smile on his face. "Brother Bao, this is Chairman Lin's place. I hope you can give us some face and not cause trouble here." Li Yuanbao frowned and said, "My Eastern District is handling matters. Even Lin Chaoshuan's face is useless. Hurry up and get out of the way." Well, the restaurant manager immediately became anxious. He turned to look at Yang Luo. "Mr. Yang, do you want Chairman Lin to come over?" Yang Luo waved his hand and said, "There's no need to trouble Mr. Lin. They're just a group of hooligans." Hey. Li Yuanbao was amused at his statement. "Kid, how dare you look down on our brothers?" Then Li Yuanbao said fiercely, "Brothers, don't hold back. Cripple this kid." "Yes." The four hooligans responded and rushed towards Yang Luo fiercely. Beat him to death. Beat him to death. Lu Yue and Lu Yuding were waving their fists with gloating expressions. Yang Luo took a step forward before suddenly rushing out like a bolt of lightning. The next second, bang, bang, bang. Accompanied by a series of collision sounds, the four hooligans were sent flying like sandbags. As the four hooligans landed on the ground, they screamed in pain. After dealing with the four hooligans, Yang Luo walked toward Li Yuanbao and the others. F*CK, so he's a martial artist. Li Yuanbao spat and shouted at the other three hooligans. What are you waiting for? Kill him. The other three hooligans immediately came back to their senses. They took out a baton from their waists and rushed towards Yang Luo. And the moment they got close, the three hooligans swung their batons at Yang Luo. However, Yang Luo only glanced at them and easily dodged it. Immediately after, Yang Luo lunged forward and threw 3 punches consecutively. The three hooligans screamed and spat out a mouthful of sour water. They were sent flying like cannonballs. D***. Li Yuanbao roared and charged at Yang Luo like a cheetah. With a punch, a sonic boom sounded in the air. It was very terrifying. It was precisely because of his skills that Li Yuanbao had been able to fight 10 opponents at the same time. Seeing Li Yuanbao's punch, Yang Luo casually threw a punch as well. Only, with a cracking sound, Li Yuanbao's entire right arm was broken when their fists met. His body was also sent flying. With a bang, he fell more than 10 meters away. Li Yuanbao endured the pain in his arm and said in horror, You're a martial warrior. Martial warrior? Yang Luo looked puzzled. He was not a martial warrior, but an immortal cultivator. As for those so-called martial warriors, they were nothing in front of him. If he had not held back, the strength behind his punch would have been enough to kill this guy. Li Yuanbao then shouted at Zhao Tianheng angrily, Zhao Tianheng, you've screwed me over. You actually wanted us to deal with a martial warrior. Then Li Yuanbao said to Yang Luo, Kid, you've hurt so many of our brothers. We're not done yet. With that, Li Yuanbao and the other 7 gangsters got into the car and ran away. They left behind a scene where everyone stood with their mouths agape. They thought that Yang Luo would be beaten half to death this time. But unexpectedly, Yang Luo defeated Li Yuanbao and the others all by himself. No wonder Chairman Lin knows this kid. Looks like he is not an ordinary person. That's right. That kid was so strong that he broke one of Li Yuanbao's arms with 1 punch. Everyone whispered and looked at Yang Luo in shock. Yang Luo ignored everyone's gazes and walked towards Zhao Tianheng and the other 2. You. Don't come over. I'm from the Zhao family. Zhao Tianheng was trembling so much, even his words came out in stutters. Lu Yue and Lu Yuding were also trembling in fear as they retreated. They did not expect Yang Luo to be so good at fighting. It's one thing for you to provoke me time and time again, but you actually dare to ask someone to cripple me. Do you really think I have a good temper? Yang Luo's expression was cold as he slapped Zhao Tianheng's face. Zhao Tianheng screamed as he flew out several meters away. Half of his face was swollen, and a few of his teeth had fallen out, covered in blood. Bastard, how dare you attack young Master Zhao? You won't be able to withstand the Zhao family's anger. Hurry up and kneel down and apologize to young Master Zhao. Otherwise, the Zhao family won't let you off. Lu Yue and Lu Yuding shouted at Yang Luo. Noisy. Yang Luo shouted coldly and directly slapped out twice. Lu Yue and Lu Yuding screamed as well as they were sent flying. Their faces were also swollen from the beating, and blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. He didn't want to hit a woman, but these 2 women really stooped too low this time round. Yang Luo ignored the 2 women and walked towards Zhao Tianheng. Slumped on the ground, Zhao Tianheng covered his face. He said sternly, Kid, I'm the eldest son of the Zhao family. Since you hit me, I won't let you off. You still dare to threaten me? Yang Luo's eyes turned cold as he stepped on Zhao Tianheng's leg and broke it. Ugh! Zhao Tianheng screamed out as he subconsciously rolled on the ground in pain. Yang Luo's eyes were cold as he said, Zhao Tianheng, today was just a warning. If there's a next time, I'll kill you. With that, Yang Luo turned around and left. Be asterisk starred, I won't let you off. Be asterisk starred, just you wait. I will kill you, I swear. Zhao Tianheng, Lu Yue, and Lu Yuding roared from behind. However, Yang Luo did not care about them anymore. He had already given them a chance. If they did not cherish it, they could not blame him. After taking a taxi, Yang Luo returned to Villa number 8 of Imperial River Court. When he reached the entrance of the villa, he saw that the lights were on in the hall on the first floor of the villa. There was also a red Maserati President parked in the courtyard. Is that woman back? Opening the door of the villa, he saw Su Qimei, who was wearing a beige professional suit, sitting on the sofa. She was holding a tablet in her hand and browsing through some reports. The light shone on the woman's face, emitting a lustrous glow. The woman's side profile appeared just so perfect. Hearing the commotion, Su Qimei turned around and asked curiously, "Where did you go?" "I want to get something to eat." Yang Luo smiled as he scratched his head. Then he walked over. "Miss Su, what are you doing?" Su Qimei rubbed her brows as she said, "Something happened in the company recently. I'm dealing with it." "What happened?" Yang Luo asked curiously. Su Qimei snorted, "You won't understand even if I tell you. Try me." Yang Luo grinned and sat beside Su Qimei. The woman's body emitted a faint fragrance, and it was extremely pleasant for him to be around her. However, Su Qimei frowned and moved to the side. Yang Luo looked helpless. Well, though this beauty was about to get engaged to him, they did not have a relationship as a foundation. It was normal for her to distance herself from him. Su Qimei looked at Yang Luo and said, "Yang Luo, although we're about to get engaged, we're not a real couple after all. I hope you can respect me." "Understood." Yang Luo nodded and said, "Tell me, what exactly happened to your company?" Su Qimei said, "The company I own is called Hua Mei Biomedical Company. The company specializes in cosmetics and health supplements. In Jiang City, there's a company that's comparable to us and has always competed with us. It's the Jiang family's Dingxing Biomedical. During this period of time, Dingxing Biomedical had released a new facial mask. It was very effective and could provide whitening, reduce wrinkles, and make one's skin glossier. As soon as it went on the market, this mask was performed crazily in sales. Because of this, the sales of Hua Mei Biomedical's products in the cosmetics industry in the past few months were very bleak. Therefore, I'm considering listing new products and recapturing the market." Yang Luo suddenly came to a realization. It turned out that this woman ran a biomedical company. It matched the medical skills he himself had learned. Seeing that Yang Luo didn't say anything, Su Qimei continued, "However, our company's research and development team can't develop a product that can compete with this mask now. Therefore, I'm considering buying a secret recipe related to cosmetics from some traditional Chinese medicine families. I thought it was something big." "So, that's what you're worried about?" Yang Luo smiled and said, "Miss Su, isn't it just a secret beauty recipe? Why is it so difficult? Leave it to me." There were many secret recipes recorded in the immortal Doctor Classics, and amongst them, there were countless secret recipes related to beauty and cosmetics. Therefore, Su Qimei's current predicament was nothing to him. Su Qimei frowned and said, "Yang Luo, I know your medical skills are not bad. However, such cosmetic secret recipes can only be chanced upon by luck. Even if you have money, you might not be able to buy them." Yang Luo said helplessly, "But this is really nothing to me. I have many of such secret recipes on hand." Hearing Yang Luo's words, Su Qimei's frown deepened. She felt that Yang Luo was too unreliable, only knowing how to brag. She herself knew very well how rare beauty secret recipes were. Even though many beauty secret recipes had been passed down, they were all in the hands of those ancient Chinese medicine families. Those ancient families usually wouldn't sell these beauty secret recipes. Instead, they would leave them for their own descendants as a form of wealth retention. However, she suddenly thought of a plan. She looked up at Yang Luo and said, "Yang Luo, didn't you say that this matter is nothing to you? In that case, I'll give you a chance. If you can help our company survive this crisis, I promise to continue interacting with you and not cancel the engagement. If you can't do it, we'll annul the engagement after a while. All right, deal. The corners of Yang Luo's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a confident smile. Seeing Yang Luo agree so readily, Su Qimei couldn't help but frown. Could it be that this fellow could really do it? She only said that to make this guy know his place. She naturally did not really believe that Yang Luo could do this. In the end, she still had to rely on the secret recipe provided by the Qin family. Su Qimei shook her head and threw away these thoughts. She asked, Yang Luo, do you know how to give a massage? Of course. Yang Luo nodded. Su Qimei said, my shoulders are a little sore. Can you massage them for me? Of course I can. Yang Luo replied with a smile and walked behind the woman. The woman's hair was black and soft. It casually fell on her shoulders, emitting a faint fragrance of shampoo. It smelled very good. Moreover, from Yang Luo's angle, he could easily see the fairness of the woman's color. This made Yang Luo's heart involuntarily race. Yang Luo shook his head and stopped his imagination from running wild. He started his massage. What he used was an ancient massage technique. The force was sometimes light and sometimes heavy, and the acupuncture points were controlled well. Su Qimei closed her eyes slightly as she enjoyed Yang Luo's massage. Although she often went to spas and massages, no technician's technique was comparable to Yang Luo's. After Yang Luo's massage, she felt that all the fatigue in her body had been swept away, and the soreness in her shoulders instantly dissipated. After massaging for half an hour, Su Qimei said, Yang Luo, my feet feel a little sore. Can you massage them for me? Huh? Yang Luo was stunned. He obviously didn't expect the woman to make such a request. Su Qimei also belatedly reacted and her face instantly turned red. It was because she was too comfortable just now and thought that she was doing a spa, so she subconsciously commanded. Now that she thought about it, she regretted saying so. In the past, when she went to the spa and massage, she always got a female technician. She had never let any man touch her. But now, Su Qimei blushed and said, if it's inconvenient. How could it be inconvenient? Yang Luo smiled and walked to Su Qimei before squatting down in front of her. The woman was wearing a professional dress today. Her legs were wrapped in black silk, revealing a fatal charm. Moreover, the woman's legs were long and well-proportioned. Where she should be thin, she would be thin. Where she should have flesh, she would have flesh. She was flawless. This was especially so for the woman's feet. They were well-defined and had gentle lines. They even emitted a faint fragrance. Yang Luo couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This woman was really top-notch. There were no flaws on her body. What are you looking at? Su Qimei blushed when she saw Yang Luo standing there in a daze. Oh, nothing. Yang Luo quickly retracted his gaze, grabbed the woman's feet, and started massaging them. Su Qimei's body trembled as if she had been electrocuted. She felt numb, and her face turned even redder. Yang Luo's heart skipped a beat when he saw the scene. He quickly retracted his gaze and stopped looking around. Instead, he focused on massaging the woman's feet. Su Qimei wanted to stop him initially, but it was too comfortable. She struggled with herself for a moment, before consoling herself that since this man was her fiancé, it was normal for her to have some physical contact with him. After thinking this through, Su Qimei put down the nervousness and uneasiness in her heart and enjoyed the massage. Soon, an hour passed. Because her fatigue had been alleviated and it was too comfortable, Su Qimei was about to fall asleep. She yawned and said, all right, let's stop here. I should go and rest. All right. Yang Luo nodded and reluctantly let go. Su Qimei stood up and said, you can rest in the room on the first floor. The inside is fully furnished. There's also a separate bathroom. You should rest early too. With that, Su Qimei went upstairs. Looking at the woman's graceful back, Yang Luo thought to himself, looks like I have to get closer to this woman. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to ask this woman to dual cultivate with him. As for coercion, that was not his style. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Early in the morning. The most high-end 5-star hotel in Jiang City, Cloud Peak Hotel, was decorated with lanterns and colorful banners. It was extremely lively. There were many luxury cars at the entrance of the hotel. There were Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, Maybachs, Ferraris, and so on. It was as though a luxury car exhibition was being held in this location. The hotel's security officers were on standby, maintaining order. Today was the big day of the engagement of the eldest daughter of the Su family, a first-tier family in Jiang City. The people from the wealthy families in Jiang City, the chairman of the corporations, and representatives from other fields all came to attend. It was very grand. At this moment, a convoy drove over from afar and stopped at the entrance of the hotel. The car door opened and a group of people got out. There were men and women, the old and young. However, one thing in common was that they were all well-dressed and had an extraordinary aura. These people were from the Lu family, a third-tier family in Jiang City. Lu Changhe was wearing a black and red tang suit and holding a walking stick. However, he looked listless and tired, as if he was seriously ill. Lu Yue supported Lu Changhe and said, "Grandpa, you should rest at home. We can attend on your behalf." "It's fine." Lu Changhe waved his hand and said, "The Su family sent us an invitation. They're giving our Lu family face. Of course, I have to participate. Moreover, I also want to find out who the miracle doctor who cured Elder Su is. It would be great if Elder Su could introduce me to that divine doctor." This was because in the past 3 days, he felt that his body was getting worse and worse. He always felt listless and tired. He had also invited many doctors to examine him, but none of them could find any problems. Moreover, he also thought of what Yang Luo said when he left the Lu family 3 days ago. This made him inwardly panic. Therefore, even though it was difficult for him to walk now, he still came here in person. He wanted to ask that miracle doctor to take a look and see what was wrong with his body. Lu Zhanhua spoke out, "Father, since that divine doctor can even treat old Master Su, he will definitely be able to treat you." Yes, Grandpa, as long as that divine doctor is willing to help, your body will definitely recover. Lu Yue added. Lu Changhe nodded and said, "Let's go in." Then, Lu Changhe and the others walked into the hotel. As soon as he entered the hotel lobby, he saw that many people had already arrived. Everyone was chatting in groups of 3 to 5. Have you heard? Old Master Su, who had been bedridden for 3 years, was actually cured by a divine doctor. This is a big matter in Jiang City. Of course I know. It's said that old Master Su can already get out of bed and walk. Is that so? That's really impressive. It would be great if I could get to know that divine doctor. Hearing everyone's conversation, Lu Changhe felt much more at ease. He knew that Su Guoxiang had been bedridden for 3 years and had invited countless doctors, but none of them had been able to treat him. Now, not only was Su Guoxiang cured, but he could also get out of bed and walk. This was enough to prove that this divine doctor's medical skills were extraordinary. If that doctor would treat him, then his body's ailments would be nothing. At this moment, not far away, 3 young men were chatting with a glass of champagne. These 3 young men were the young masters of the 3 first-tier families in Jiang City, the Jiang family, the He family, and the Song family, Jiang Mingyu, He Jiahao, and Song Chengyu. There were 5 top families in Jiang City. They were the Jiang family, the He family, the Su family, the Song family, and the Qin family. Brother Jiang, I didn't expect the #1 beauty in Jiang City, Su Qimei, to be engaged to someone else. TSK. It's really too sudden and surprising. Song Qingyu, whose long hair was tied behind his head, said to Jiang Mingyu with an evil smile. Old Song, don't mention it. Can't you see that Brother Jiang is very unhappy? He Jiahao, who was wearing gold-rimmed glasses, spoke out. At this moment, the handsome Jiang Mingyu, who was wearing a white suit, had a gloomy expression. As the young master of the #1 family in Jiang City, he was extremely confident in his looks and family background. He had also been pursuing Su Qimei, but he had always been rejected. However, he did not expect Su Qimei to be engaged to someone else today. Who the hell is it? How dare you touch someone who belongs to me? Jiang Mingyu said in a deep voice. Didn't I ask you to find out who that guy is? He Jiahao said, Brother Jiang, I've arranged for someone to ask around these few days, but I didn't find any news. Brother Jiang will know soon. What's the rush? Song Qingyu waved his hand in dismissal and said with a smile, Brother Jiang, there are plenty of beauties in this world. Why be inflexible and stubborn? Isn't it great to be a groom like me every night? Piss off. Jiang Mingyu coldly spat. Su Qimei can only be my woman. I'll kill whoever dares to touch her. You're hopeless. Song Qingyu shrugged and said, I'd better go and look for tonight's prey. Old song, I curse you to die on a woman's stomach one day. He Jiahao cursed with a smile. Ha ha, old he, you don't have to worry about that. Song Qingyu laughed and waved his hand. At the same time, in the hotel's dressing room, a few top makeup artists were putting on makeup for Su Qimei. Su Qimei, who was wearing a gown, looked at herself in the mirror in a daze. She was getting engaged today. Although she did not reject Yang Luo, she felt that it was a pity for herself. After all, she had never been in a relationship since she was young. However, she did not want to go against her grandfather's wishes, so she could only agree. At this moment, Su Guoxiong, who was wearing a red tang suit, walked in. Grandpa, why are you here? Su Qimei turned to look at Su Guoxiong. Su Guoxiong smiled kindly and said, I'm just here to take a look and chat with you. The makeup artists nodded at Su Guoxiong and left the dressing room. Where's little Luo? Su Guoxiong asked in confusion. Su Qimei said, he went to the washroom. Su Guoxiong nodded his head and asked, Qimei, do you hate grandfather? Su Qimei was stunned for a moment before shaking her head, no. Su Guoxiong said, even if you don't hate me, you're actually very uncomfortable, right? Su Qimei pursed her lips and remained silent. Su Guoxiong sighed and said, Qimei, Grandpa has never misjudged anyone in his life. Therefore, you have to believe in Grandpa. Little Luo is the best partner for you. Although little Luo looks like he has nothing now, he will definitely soar into the sky in the future and become a dragon among men. Is it because of his medical skills? Su Qimei asked. There's naturally nothing to say about little Luo's medical skills. Su Guoxiong smiled faintly and continued, but what I value more is little Luo's character. Although he looks young, he's steady and indifferent to fame and fortune. I've never seen a young man like him in this city. Su Qimei nodded slowly as she listened. Indeed, this was one of the reasons why she did not reject Yang Luo. If it were an ordinary person, they would definitely demand an exorbitant price from the Su family after curing their grandfather. But Yang Luo did not even bother to request anything. Furthermore, when Huang Tian wanted to acknowledge Yang Luo as his master, he was not joyous at all. Instead, he said that he would to consider it. Even when Tang Guangren invited Yang Luo to be the director of the traditional Chinese medicine department in the central hospital and offered him an annual salary of 5 million yuan, Yang Luo directly rejected him. Most importantly, she could tell that Yang Luo wasn't pretending. He really wasn't interested in these things. Su Guoxiong smiled and said, all right, Grandpa won't say anything else. Think about it yourself. Also, let Yang Luo go to your company in the future. If you arrange a position for him, he will definitely help you. How could a golden koi be trapped in a puddle? It would transform into a dragon when it encountered a storm. Ha ha. Accompanied by hearty laughter, Su Guoxiong left the dressing room with his hands behind his back. Su Qimei stared at the mirror in a daze and muttered, Yang Luo, are you really worthy of me entrusting my life to you? At that moment, in the hotel washroom, Yang Luo walked out of the bathroom and was about to go to the dressing room. But at this moment, a voice came from behind. Please wait a minute, handsome. Hearing the voice, Yang Luo frowned and turned around. Not far away stood two women in gowns and heavy makeup. They were Lu Yue and Lu Yuding. Why is it you? When she saw Yang Luo, her expression instantly turned exceptionally ugly. As Yang Luo was wearing a tailored black suit today, accentuating his slim figure. He even did his hair. From the back, he looked like a stylish man. Hence, Lu Yuding didn't recognize him immediately and wanted to hit on him. Ever since her sister got engaged to the young master of the Zhao family, she had been very envious and jealous. She wanted to hook up with a young master of a big family as well. However, she did not expect that the person she was hitting on was the bumpkin from 3 days ago. Especially 3 days ago, she had even been slapped by this bumpkin. This made her hate him even more. Lu Yue was also very surprised. She didn't expect this guy to dress up so well. However, so what if he looked decent? Without power or influence, he was still nothing. Yang Luo's face darkened and he asked, "What's the matter?" He really did not want to have any more interactions with these two women. "Why are you here, bumpkin?" Lu Yuding asked coldly. Yang Luo merely replied, "Where I am doesn't seem to have anything to do with you guys, right?" With her hands on her hips, Lu Yuding mocked, "Bumpkin, is this a place you should come to? Today is the engagement day of the eldest daughter of the Su family. The people who came are all powerful figures. Who do you think you are to have the cheek to come here?" Lu Yue crossed her arms and sneered, "Yang Luo, do you really think of yourself as Miss Su's friend? Although I don't know how you met Miss Su, I want to tell you something. You and Miss Su are not from the same world. Therefore, you'd better not think about socializing with the Su family. The Su family is not something you are worthy of knowing." Yang Luo sneered and said, "Who exactly wants to climb up the social ladder of the Su family? I think you're the ones who really want to climb up the social ladder of the Su family, right?" B****. What did you say? Lu Yuding glared at Yang Luo, wishing she could cut him into pieces. Lu Yue was also trembling with anger. After all, what Yang Luo said was the truth. The Lu family indeed wanted to get closer to the Su family. But now that Yang Luo said it out loud, they were very unhappy. Yang Luo did not bother with the two of them anymore. Instead, he turned around and prepared to leave. "Stop right there!" Lu Yue screamed. "What now?" Yang Luo turned his head and eyed the two of them coldly. "Are you still looking for a fight?" Upon hearing Yang Luo's words and seeing his gaze, the two of them took a few steps back in fear. "Idiots!" Yang Luo sneered and left. B****. You'll die a horrible death. Lu Yuding was so angry that she cursed repeatedly. This guy offended young Master Zhao and the people of the Eastern District. His days are numbered. He will definitely die a tragic death. Lu Yue said gloomily and then said, "Let's go. Let's hurry to the hall. The engagement banquet should be starting soon." "All right." Lu Yuding nodded and followed Lu Yue to the hall. Meanwhile, in the hotel lobby. With the passing of time, almost everyone who came to attend the engagement banquet had arrived. Everyone was chatting and it was very lively. "Who do you think will be engaged to Miss Su?" "I thought that the Su family would form a marriage alliance with the other top families in Jiang City, but it doesn't seem to be the case now. Could it be that the Su family has a marriage alliance with other families in other provinces and cities? I wonder which young master is so lucky to be able to marry a beauty." Just as everyone was discussing, Su Guoxiong walked into the hall in a red tang suit. His face was ruddy and he looked energetic. "Look, old Master Su is here. Oh my god, old Master Su has really recovered. Moreover, old Master Su looks energetic. He doesn't look like he has just recovered from a serious illness at all. Looks like the rumors are true. Old Master Su was really cured by that mysterious divine doctor." Everyone exclaimed as they looked at Su Guoxiong in shock. They all knew that Su Guoxiong had been lying on the hospital bed for the past 3 years. No doctor could treat him. There were even rumors that Su Guoxiong was about to die. But now, when they saw Su Guoxiong standing in front of them energetically, they really could not hide their shock. Su Guoxiong had really recovered, and he seemed to have become 10 years younger. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed this fact. Su Guoxiong strode to the front of the crowd and said with a smile, "Thank you for coming to my granddaughter's engagement banquet today. I'm sure everyone is very curious about who cured my chronic illness and who wants to get engaged to my granddaughter, right? I can tell everyone now that the person who cured my chronic illness for many years and the man who got engaged to my granddaughter is the same person." As soon as these words were spoken, the raucous crowd turned silent. "Oh my god, this can't be real, right? That mysterious divine doctor is actually the person who got engaged to Miss Su." Someone could not suppress the shock in his heart and exclaimed, "How's that possible? The divine doctor who can treat old Master Su must be a divine doctor. He would probably already sport a huge beard and eyebrows. Could it be that the divine doctor is a young man?" Someone else exclaimed, They didn't think that Su Guoxiang would let his precious granddaughter marry an old man. At this moment, Lu Changhe, Lu Zhanhua, and the other members of the Lu family were also shocked. Lu Zhanhua sighed and said, "I'm afraid that the divine doctor is an outstanding junior, nurtured by an ancient Chinese medicine family." Lu Changhe said, "We must build a good relationship with that divine doctor." Everyone in the Lu family nodded. Song Qingyu took a sip of red wine and said with a smile, "Interesting. I didn't expect Miss Su to be engaged to the divine doctor who cured old Master Su." He Jiahao also held his eyes and said, "I'm looking forward to seeing who this young master is to be able to bring such a beauty home." Jiang Mingyu, on the other hand, gulped down a mouthful of wine. His face was gloomy, and he did not say a word. "Old Master Su, stop trying to leave someone hanging. Hurry up and get Miss Su and that young master to come out." At this moment, someone couldn't wait any longer and shouted. The others were also looking forward to seeing the divine doctor's true appearance. All right. Everyone, don't be anxious. I'll ask my granddaughter and grandson-in-law to come out now." Su Guoxiang laughed out loud and shouted upstairs, "Granddaughter, grandson-in-law, come down and meet everyone." As soon as he finished speaking, melodious music sounded in the hotel. Right on the heels of that, footsteps sounded from the second floor of the hotel. Everyone in the hall looked up at the second floor. Two figures walked over from the corridor in the distance. When the two figures reached the staircase, everyone could see their faces clearly. It was Yang Luo and Su Qimei. Yang Luo was wearing a well-cut black suit, and Su Qimei was wearing a long white dress. They were like a golden couple, shining brightly. However, the moment everyone in the Lu family saw Yang Luo, they felt as if they had been struck by lightning and were completely dumbfounded. How is this possible? Lu Yuding's eyes widened in shock. How could this bumpkin be engaged to Miss Su? This is not real. This is definitely not real. Lu Yue was also dumbfounded. Her expression was extremely ugly, as if she had eaten a dead fly. Lu Changhe, Lu Zhanhua, and the other members of the Lu family were also petrified. They stood there in a daze. The impact in front of them was too great, and they could not recover for a moment. The person who was engaged to the eldest daughter of the Su family in Jiang City was actually the bumpkin brat who had been humiliated by them 3 days ago. Moreover, this kid was actually the divine doctor who had cured old Master Su. Unbelievable. It was unbelievable. However, the truth was right in front of them, so they had no choice but to believe it. Lu Zhanhua said in a daze, "Father, did this kid really cure old Master Su? Does this kid really have such powerful medical skills?" Lu Changhe gripped his walking stick tightly. His face alternated between green and white, and he could not say a word. He had originally planned to use Su Guoxiang's connections to request for that divine doctor to treat his illness. But who knew that the divine doctor was actually Yang Luo? Now that he had completely offended Yang Luo, would Yang Luo still help him treat his illness? Moreover, he was extremely regretful. Since Yang Luo could cure Su Guoxiang's chronic illness, it meant that he had extraordinary medical skills. Such a young person being a divine doctor would mean that he had a limitless future. If Yang Luo had become his grandson-in-law, their Lu family might soar under Yang Luo's lead. But now, everything turned into a dream. Regret. Endless regret surged into his heart. At this moment, not far away, Zhao Tianheng, who had a broken leg and was holding a walking stick, stared fixedly at Yang Luo. His eyes were red and filled with endless anger, envy, and jealousy. This wild kid was actually engaged to the woman of his dreams. How did that happen? At this moment, under everyone's gaze, Su Qimei held Yang Luo's arm and walked down the stairs to Su Guoxiang. Su Guoxiang was beaming with joy as he introduced with a bright smile, "Everyone, this young man is the divine doctor who cured my chronic illness for many years. He's also my grandson-in-law, Yang Luo. If little Luo hadn't pulled me back from the gates of hell, I would have died a long time ago." Moreover, not only was little Luo's medical skills extraordinary, but his character is also very good. I hope that everyone can take care of him in the future. Old Master Su, that's a must. It's our honor to befriend this divine doctor. Mr. Yang is talented and has an extraordinary temperament. He's a perfect match for Miss Su. The Qin family is sending over a pair of Mandarin ducks jade. I wish Mr. Yang and Miss Su eternal love. Tianhua Corporation sends a dragon phoenix jade pot. May Mr. Yang and Miss Su live happily ever after. The Fuxing Jewelry Shop sends 99 gold bars. I wish Mr. Yang and Miss Su a long life. May your love be stronger than gold. Everyone flattered them and even sent over all kinds of lavish gifts. Looking at those expensive gifts, the Lu family's eyes burned and they felt their hearts bleed. Especially Lu Yue, the envy and jealousy in her eyes nearly drove her crazy. 3 days ago, even when she was engaged to Zhao Tianheng, she did not receive such a grand gift. The disparity was too great. At this moment, Su Guoxiong glanced at Lu Changhe and the others in the distance and asked loudly, "Everyone, what do you think of my grandson, in-law?" "Good, of course he's good. With such brilliant medical skills, Mr. Yang's future achievements will definitely be limitless." Everyone started praising Yang Luo. Su Guoxiong chuckled and continued, "To be honest, Yang Luo actually had a prior engagement 3 days ago. It was a pity that those people didn't know what was good for them. Not only did they break off the engagement unilaterally, but they also mocked little Luo in all sorts of ways and even chased him away. Of course, I'm also very grateful to them for breaking off the engagement. Otherwise, how could I have such an outstanding grandson-in-law? Oh my God, who was so stupid to abandon such a good son-in-law and chase him out? If our family had such a divine doctor as a son-in-law, I would wake up laughing in my dreams." Sigh, after all, not everyone has old Master Su's sharp eyes. Those who did not attend the Lu family's engagement banquet 3 days ago spoke up one after another. However, the people who attended the Lu family's engagement banquet knew who Su Guoxiong was talking about. At this moment, the Lu family members were all ashamed and flushed. They wished they could turn around and leave now. But they did not dare to leave. If they left now, they would be disrespecting the Su family. Once they angered the Su family, the Lu family would probably not have a good life. Cough, cough. Lu Changhe felt suffocated. He picked up his handkerchief and coughed violently, coughing up blood. "Father! Grandpa!" Lu Zhanhua, Lu Yue, and the others cried out in surprise, their faces turning pale with fear. The commotion here also alarmed the others. Everyone turned to look. However, everyone had different expressions upon witnessing this scene. "Old Lu, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" Su Guoxiong pretended to be puzzled and asked. Lu Changhe waved his hand and said weakly, "Elder Su, I'm fine. I'm fine." "Elder Lu, what do you think of my grandson-in-law?" Su Guoxiong asked with a smile. Upon hearing this, Lu Changhe's body suddenly swayed. Lu Zhanhua hurriedly went forward and supported him. This was simply heartbreaking. Lu Changhe forced a smile and said, "Elder Su, your grandson-in-law is very outstanding. He's very good." "Haha, I think so too." Su Guoxiong roared in laughter and waved his hand. "I hope everyone can eat and drink well today." On this note, the banquet began. Everyone took their seats and toasted each other. Yang Luo and Su Qimei went down to the table to toast. Soon, Su Qimei brought Yang Luo to the table where the Lu family was sitting. "Miss Su, Mr. Yang, congratulations." Lu Changhe stood up shakily and raised his glass. No matter how unhappy he was, he still had to put on a front. The rest of the Lu family also stood up. Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and said, "Lu Changhe, are you really congratulating me and Qimei, or are you just being polite?" Lu Changhe smiled and said, "Of course, I'm sincerely congratulating. Be asterisk starred. Don't think that you can show off in front of us just because you've hooked up with the Su family." Lu Yuding shouted at Yang Luo. "Shut up." Lu Changhe shouted angrily. Lu Yuding was so frightened that she did not dare to say anything else. Yang Luo looked at Lu Changhe and asked with a smile, "Lu Changhe, do you still remember the words I told you 3 days ago?" "What words?" Lu Changhe asked with an ugly expression. Yang Luo said indifferently, "Have you prepared the coffin? You really won't live for more than a few days." "You." Lu Changhe was so angry that his chest heaved up and down. He coughed out another mouthful of blood. "Grandpa." Lu Yue quickly supported Lu Changhe and glared at Yang Luo. "Be asterisk starred, don't be so smug. What's so great about knowing some medical skills? There are many divine doctors in this world. You're nothing. Yang Luo said confidently, indeed, there are many divine doctors in this world, but there's practically no one who can compare to me. That's nonsense. Lu Yue gritted her teeth and shouted angrily. Yang Luo ignored her and turned to look at Lu Changhe. Lu Changhe, to tell you the truth, before I left the mountain, my master had given me some instructions. If you had abided by the engagement, I was to extend your lifespan by another 10 years. Even if you persuaded me to cancel the engagement, I would still have helped you. At the very least, I would have let you live for a few more years. But right now, let's forget about it. Treasure the few days you have left. With that, Yang Luo held Su Qingmei's hand and left. Lu Changhe didn't come back to his senses until Yang Luo left. He stood there in a daze. 10 years of lifespan. That was a whole decade. No matter how rich he was, he could not buy a decade of time. However, because of a moment of carelessness, not only did he ruin the engagement, but he also completely offended Yang Luo. Lu Changhe felt as if a knife was being twisted in his heart, and his regret became even greater. Lu Yue quickly comforted him. Grandfather, don't listen to that bastard's exaggeration. You will definitely live to a ripe old age. Lu Zhanhua added, Father, now that Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao are in Jiang City, I'll invite him to treat your illness in the next 2 days. With the cooperation of 2 divine doctors, we will definitely be able to cure you. Let's hope so. Lu Changhe nodded slowly. After Yang Luo and Su Qingmei left, they went to another table to toast. On the way, Su Qingmei asked curiously, Yang Luo, is what you said true? Lu Changhe really can't live for more than a few days. Of course it's true. Yang Luo nodded in reply. Now, the death aura on Lu Changhe's body has spread to his entire body. Other than me, no one can save him. Su Qingmei blinked her beautiful eyes and asked, Yang Luo, how good are your medical skills then? Yang Luo grinned and said, in the entire China and even the entire world, only my master's medical skills are better than mine. No one else is better than me. There are so many divine doctors in the world. How can they be inferior to you? Stop bragging. Su Qingmei rolled her eyes at Yang Luo. Believe it or not. Yang Luo shrugged. Soon, Su Qingmei brought Yang Luo to a table. Everyone sitting there had extraordinary bearings. Su Qingmei said, Yang Luo, this is from the Qin family in Jiang City. The Qin family has been on good terms with our Su family for generations and has always had a good relationship. Yang Luo nodded in realization. Previously, in the dressing room, Su Qingmei had also mentioned this to him. There were 5 top families in Jiang City. They were the Jiang family, the He family, the Su family, the Song family, and the Qin family. Qingmei, congratulations on finding a good husband. An old man with gray hair in a Chinese tunic suit looked at Su Qingmei lovingly. This old man was Old Master Qin, Qin Zurong. Thank you, Grandpa Qin. Su Qingmei smiled. Qin Zurong looked at Yang Luo and said, Kid, Qingmei is half my granddaughter. If you dare to bully her in the future, I won't let you off. Yang Luo chuckled and said, I can't even protect Qingmei enough. Why would I bully her? Haha, that's good, that's good. Qin Zurong laughed out loud. Qingmei, congratulations. I didn't expect you to leave your singlehood so soon. At this moment, a woman in a wheelchair looked at Su Qingmei with a smile. Yang Luo turned around and a look of amazement flashed across his eyes. A head of smooth, jet-black hair draped over the woman's shoulders. Her eyes were clear and bright, her willowy eyebrows curved, her eyelashes thick, her lips delicate like rose petals, and her skin fair and flawless. This woman was like a snow lotus on heavenly mountain, pure and flawless. However, why was such a woman sitting in a wheelchair? Su Qingmei stepped forward and held the woman's hand. She smiled and said, Thank you, Momo. You will also find your other half. IIJ___________2. The woman pinched the hem of her dress with both hands, bitterness appearing in her eyes. Qingmei, who is this? Yang Luo asked in curiosity. Su Qingmei introduced, she's my best friend, Qin Yimo. Hello, Mr. Yang. My name is Qin Yimo. Qin Yimo smiled and extended her hand to Yang Luo. Yang Luo shook hands with Qin Yimo and said, Miss Qin, your leg is. Qin Zurong sighed and said, 5 years ago, Momo suffered from muscle atrophy. We looked for countless doctors to treat Momo, but there was no way to cure her. Moreover, the doctor also said that Momo probably won't live for more than a year. Yang Luo looked at Qin Yimo and asked, Miss Qin, may I see your legs? Yang Luo, can you treat Momo? Anticipation appeared in Su Qing's eyes. Qin Zurong and the others from the Qin family also looked at Yang Luo expectantly. Yang Luo said, I'll take a look at the situation first. There shouldn't be any major problems. Qin Yimo's eyes lit up at his words. She did not reject it. Instead, she lifted the hem of her dress that covered her legs. When the hem of the dress was lifted, Yang Luo couldn't help but gasp. The muscles in the woman's legs had completely withered. Her skin was wrinkled and pale. There was no sign of vitality in those legs at all. Yang Luo squatted down and reached out to pinch the woman's legs. Then, he felt the muscles, tendons, and bones in the woman's legs. After the inspection, Yang Luo frowned slightly. Seeing Yang Luo's expression, Qin Zurong and the other Qin family members sighed deeply. It seemed that even a divine doctor like Yang Luo could not treat Qin Yimo. Yang Luo, can you cure Momo? You can definitely cure her, right? Su Qimei hurriedly asked. Qin Yimo pursed her lips and said bitterly, Qimei, don't make things difficult for Mr. Yang. I know my body best. No one can cure me. Who says it can't be cured? Yang Luo pursed his lips and said, others might not be able to, but I can treat you. Hearing this, everyone present was dumbfounded as they looked at Yang Luo. Then why did you frown just now? Su Qimei asked. Yang Luo helped Qin Yimo lower her skirt and stood up. I just feel that Miss Qin's illness is a little serious. It will take some time to completely cure her. Really? You can really cure Momo? Su Qimei was extremely agitated as she grabbed onto Yang Luo's arm tightly. Qin Yimo also looked at Yang Luo in a daze, tears welling up in her eyes. Ever since she contracted muscle atrophy, her life began its countdown. She had never thought that there would be a day when someone would say that they could cure her illness. Qin Zurong and the other members of the Qin family were also extremely excited. After all, Qin Yimo was the prodigy of the younger generation of the Qin family and had been heavily nurtured by the Qin family. Even though Qin Yimo suffered from muscle atrophy and was in a wheelchair, she had done a lot for the Qin family. If Qin Yimo could stand up again, it would undoubtedly be great news for the Qin family. Qin Zurong was so excited that his eyes turned red. Little Luo, if you can cure Momo, my Qin family will owe you a huge favor. Old Master Qin, the Qin family and the Su family have been on good terms for generations. Moreover, Miss Qin and Qimei are best friends. How can one not help? Yang Luo waved his hand and continued, however, Miss Qin has been ill for a long time. It will take half a month for her to completely recover. What? Only half a month? Qin Zurong was stunned. He thought the long time Yang Luo referred to would be counted in years, or even decades. Su Qimei also stopped short upon hearing his words. If she hadn't personally seen Yang Luo cure her grandfather, she wouldn't have believed Yang Luo's words at all. Qin Yimo could no longer hold back the tears in her eyes. She looked at Yang Luo and said, Mr. Yang, if you can make me stand up again, I will repay you with my entire life. Yang Luo grinned and said, I don't need any repayment. One also don't want a beauty like you to be in a wheelchair all the time. Hearing this, Qin Yimo couldn't help but burst out laughing. This visual was breathtaking. Su Qimei suggested, how about this, Momo? You can stay at my house during the treatment period. This will also make it easier for Yang Luo to treat you. All right. Qin Yimo nodded in agreement. After that, Yang Luo and Su Qimei toasted the Qin family before heading to another table. At this moment, at a table in the hotel lobby, Jiang Mingyu gulped down a few glasses of wine and said in a deep voice, old song, help me investigate this guy called Yang Luo for the next few days. One want to know his background. No problem. He Jiahao and Song Chengyu nodded in agreement. Young Master Jiang, there's no need to go through so much trouble. I know this kid's background. At this moment, Zhao Tianheng walked over with a walking stick and a glass of red wine. Oh, Jiang Mingyu glanced at Zhao Tianheng and said indifferently, "Tell me, where did this kid come from?" Zhao Tianheng said respectfully, "Young Master Jiang, Yang Luo came from the mountains and learned some medical skills from a wild man. This kid was just lucky. He actually was allowed to treat old Master Su and won his favor." "Are you telling the truth?" Jiang Mingyu turned around and stared at Zhao Tianheng. He Jiahao and Song Qingyu also looked at Zhao Tianheng. "Of course it's true." Zhao Tianheng nodded repeatedly. "How do you know about this kid?" Jiang Mingyu asked. "To be honest, I have a grudge against this kid. He broke my leg." Zhao Tianheng gulped down a mouthful of wine and told Jiang Mingyu and the other two what had happened 3 days ago. Therefore, after he found out that Yang Luo and Su Qimei were engaged, he knew that it was probably unrealistic for him to take revenge on his own. Therefore, he found Jiang Mingyu and wanted to take revenge through the latter's power. After listening to Zhao Tianheng's story, Song Qingyu directly laughed out loud and said, "I was wondering who this kid was. It turns out that he's just a bumpkin." He Jiahao also shook his head and said, "A kid from the wilderness dares to compete with our brother Jiang? He really doesn't know what's good for him." Jiang Mingyu sneered and said, "To think that I thought of this kid as someone important. It turns out that he's just a bumpkin. How ridiculous." Zhao Tianheng said worriedly, "But, young Master Jiang, that kid has the Su family's protection now. If we touch him, the Su family will definitely not agree." Jiang Mingyu said proudly, "With our 3 families around, do you think the Su family can protect him?" "That's true. If young Master Jiang, young Master He, and young Master Song join forces, no one in Jiang City can compete with them." Zhao Tianheng chuckled and stroked their egos at the right time. Jiang Mingyu glanced at Zhao Tianheng and said, "Kid, you sure know how to speak. Just follow us from now on." "Thank you, young Master Jiang." Zhao Tianheng was overjoyed. Like a lackey, henchman, and lapdog, he hurriedly poured wine for Jiang Mingyu and the others. But just as he was pouring the wine, a powerful voice came from outside the door. "Hey, it's quite lively today." Accompanied by this voice, a series of footsteps sounded from outside. Everyone in the hall was alarmed and turned to look at the door. A large group of men in uniform black clothes walked in with fierce auras. The leader was a burly middle-aged man with tan skin and a resolute face. The hotel's security officers couldn't stop them at all and were pushed to the side instead. Seeing this group of people enter, the expressions of everyone in the hall changed drastically, and they stood up one after another. Aren't they from the Eastern Alliance? Why are they here? Are they also here to attend the Su family's engagement banquet? From the looks of it, the people from the Eastern Alliance don't seem to be here to attend the engagement banquet, but to cause trouble. Everyone whispered to each other, not knowing what was going on. That's right. The newcomers were people who came from Jiang City's East District, the Eastern Alliance. At this moment, Yang Luo also saw this group of people. Also, he saw a man with a cast on his right arm. It was Li Yuan Bao, whose arm he had crippled 3 days ago. Yang Luo narrowed his eyes. It seemed that these guys were here for him. "Qimei, just what kind of background does the Eastern Alliance have?" Yang Luo asked Su Qimei. Su Qimei replied, "There are a total of 4 underground chambers of commerce in the entire Jiang City. They are the Eastern Alliance of the East, the Southern Sky Chamber of Commerce in the south, the West Wind Chamber of Commerce in the west, and the North Rising Chamber of Commerce in the north. These 4 chambers of commerce are very powerful. Each of them is comparable to a first-rate family in Jiang City." "I see." Yang Luo nodded in realization and asked, "Who's the leader?" Su Qimei said, "The president of the Eastern Alliance, Jiang Tianlong, has 5 heavenly kings under him, and this guy is one of them. His name is Qiao Sudong, and his nickname is Greedy Wolf. Oh." Yang Luo nodded and more or less understood what was going on. Su Qimei frowned and said, "Our families have always stayed in one's own lane, mind one's own business. I wonder why the people from the Eastern Alliance are here today." Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and said, "If I'm not wrong, they should be coming for me." They're here for you." Su Qimei jumped in shock. "What do you mean?" Yang Luo did not hide anything and told Su Qingmei about what happened 3 days ago. After hearing Yang Luo's words, Su Qingmei's expression turned cold. This Zhao Tianheng is really too much. He actually dared to get someone to beat you up. I definitely won't let them off. As she spoke, Su Qingmei reminded him, Yang Luo, don't appear later. Grandpa will help you solve this problem. There's no need. Yang Luo shook his head and said, just these guys can't do anything to me. Su Qingmei retorted, as far as one knows, Qiao Sudong is a martial warrior with powerful strength. Therefore, you cannot be rash. Yang Luo smiled and said, don't worry. This guy is nothing in my eyes. Su Qingmei shook her head helplessly, feeling that Yang Luo was too arrogant. Yang Luo, oh Yang Luo, you have no idea how terrifying a martial warrior is. Even if your medical skills were good, it didn't mean that you could fight against a martial warrior. Just as Yang Luo and Su Qingmei were chatting, Su Guoxiang walked out. Su Guoxiang politely asked, may first know why Mr. Qiao is here today? Su Wenfeng, Su Wenbin, and Su Wanqiu followed. Qiao Sudong met Su Guoxiang's gaze and asked, Old Master Su, is Yang Luo your grandson-in-law? That's right. Su Guoxiang nodded. Qiao Sudong said, 3 days ago, your grandson-in-law disabled my brother, Li Yuanbao's, arm. Naturally, I have to avenge my brother. So, hurry up and hand over your grandson-in-law. I want to cripple one of his arms and make him kneel down and apologize to my brother. As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd went into an uproar. Oh my God, so the people from the Eastern Alliance are here for Mr. Yang. Mr. Yang has offended the people of the Eastern Alliance. I'm afraid he won't have a good time. Isn't that so? There was once a young master of a family who offended the people of the Eastern Alliance. The people of the Eastern Alliance directly destroyed that family. Everyone started discussing in low voices. However, Lu Yue and Lu Yuding were overjoyed. Haha, this bumpkin is done for. Lu Yuding smiled smugly. Lu Yue also sneered and said, wasn't this guy very arrogant just now? One want to see how he can still be so arrogant now. Yue, what's going on? Lu Changhe asked in confusion. Grandpa, it's like this. Lu Yue quickly told Lu Changhe what happened 3 days ago. After hearing this, Lu Changhe smiled as well. The entire Lu family also laughed. The Lu family had lost all their faces here today, and it was all because of Yang Luo. Now that someone was helping them teach Yang Luo a lesson, they were naturally very happy. Zhao Tianheng was also excited. I didn't expect the Eastern Alliance's revenge to come so quickly. Since he offended someone from the Eastern Alliance, this kid is dead meat. Jiang Mingyu smiled and said, this kid has just arrived in Jiang City, and he dares to be so arrogant. He even dares to offend the people from the Eastern Alliance. He really doesn't know what's good for him. At this moment, Su Guoxiang's expression turned completely cold. Even if Yang Luo was not his grandson-in-law, he would still do his best to protect Yang Luo. After all, Yang Luo had saved his life. Su Guoxiang said in a deep voice, Qiao Sudong, Yang Luo is my grandson-in-law. I won't hand him over to you. Qiao Sudong said viciously, Old Master Su, are you sure you don't want to hand him over? Do you know the consequences of offending our Eastern Alliance? Even if your Su family has a huge business, can your Su family win against our Eastern Alliance in an all-out war? Su Guoxiang said in a trembling voice, what's there for our Su family to be afraid of? As the head of the Su family, Su Guoxiang erupted with the pressure of a superior at this moment, causing many people present to fall silent. Qiao Sudong was not afraid at all. He smiled sinisterly and said, Old Master Su, let me remind you that I'm working for King Jinnan. If your Su family really dares to start a full-scale war with us, do you think King Jinnan will sit back and do nothing? Hearing this, Su Guoxiang fell silent. Their Su family was indeed not afraid of the Eastern Alliance. However, the Eastern Alliance had King Jinnan behind them. This was the existence that he was afraid of. Everyone present sighed deeply and felt that the Su family would probably have to lower their heads today. Qimei, who is King Jinnan? Yang Luo asked curiously. Su Qimei said, one don't know who King Jinnan is either. I only know that King Jinnan is the king of the entire underground world in the south of China. He controls all the underground organizations in the south and has terrifying authority. Some people say that King Jinnan is a woman, but one don't think so. To be able to become the emperor of the southern underworld is not something a woman can do. King Jinnan, huh? Interesting. Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and became more and more interested in King Jinnan. Just then, Xiao Sudong spoke again. Old Master Su, our Eastern Alliance doesn't mean to go against you. As long as you hand over Yang Luo, I promise I won't take his life. 1 foot 11 inches, just teach him a lesson. How about that? Su Guoxiong snorted and said, one won't hand little Luo over to you. Old Master Su, this is not up to you. Xiao Sudong turned cold and said to Li Yuanbao, you should know that kid. Find him. Yes, Brother Qiao. Li Yuanbao nodded. Then he looked around and saw Yang Luo. He immediately pointed at Yang Luo. Brother Qiao, it's that kid. Get that kid. Xiao Sudong gave the order. With this order, more than 10 men in black moved and walked towards Yang Luo. Stop them. Su Guoxiong also shouted. Soon, more than 10 guards of the Su family rushed over. You have a death wish. Xiao Sudong let out a cold shout. His figure flickered as he dashed forward like a bolt of lightning. And the moment they got close, bam! Xiao Sudong immediately punched out, bringing with it a strong wind and a sonic boom. With just one punch, several guards were immediately sent flying. Then, Xiao Sudong threw out 2 more punches in a row, and the remaining guards were all sent flying. They lay on the ground and wailed in misery. This scene shocked everyone present. Is this Xiao Sudong's strength? He's too strong. He downed more than 10 Su family guards with just 3 punches. It's said that Xiao Sudong is an acquired realm martial warrior, an existence that can fight 100 people alone. Everyone began to discuss among themselves as they looked at Xiao Sudong with fear in their eyes. As for Lu Yue, Lu Yuding, Zhao Tianheng, and the others, they were extremely excited. Xiao Sudong stood with his hands behind his back and said arrogantly, Old Master Su, don't send these useless people up. At this moment, a gray-robed elder who was only about 1.7 meters tall came to Su Guoxiong's side. This old man was Su Guoxiong's bodyguard, Li Bai. Elderly, how confident are you in dealing with this guy? Su Guoxiong asked. 70%. Li Bai simply replied. Su Guoxiong nodded and said, all right, do it. But just as Li Bai was about to attack, a lazy voice was heard. A mere acquired realm martial warrior dares to cripple my arm and even dares to make me kneel and kowtow. Where did you get your confidence from? Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. For a moment, everyone looked in the direction of the voice. They only saw Yang Luo walking over step by step. Yang Luo, don't go over. Su Qimei panicked and quickly followed. Seeing Yang Luo walk out, Lu Yue and Lu Yuding almost laughed out loud. Not only is this guy a bumpkin, but he's also an idiot. Mo dare he stand out. Lu Yue laughed viciously. Since he has stepped forward, it's naturally for the best. One can't wait to see the scene of his arm being broken and him kneeling down to apologize. Zhao Tianheng, Jiang Mingyu, and the others were also excited and secretly looking forward to it. Little Luo, back off. Grandpa will settle this matter for you. Su Guoxiong stood in front of Yang Luo. Yang Luo smiled and said, Old Master Su, don't worry. This guy can't do anything to me. As he spoke, Yang Luo directly walked in front of Su Guoxiong. Su Guoxiong was already prepared to let Li Bai take action at any time. Qin Zurong also instructed his bodyguards to be ready to help at any time. Xiao Sudong sneered at Yang Luo and said, one didn't expect you to have guts. No wonder you were able to obtain Old Master Su's approval and get engaged to the #1 beauty in Jiang City, Miss Su. However, since you hurt my brother, I naturally have to seek justice for him. Kid, one only want you to break an arm and kneel down to apologize to my brother. Then, this matter will be over. Yang Luo shook his head and said, it's impossible for me to break my arm and kneel down to apologize. Good, very good. Xiao Sudong's face darkened. Since you don't know how to appreciate a favor when given, then don't blame me. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Sudong took a step forward and crossed a few meters, throwing a punch at Yang Luo. With a punch, a strong wind whistled and the sound of an explosion resounded. Do it! Su Guoxiong and Qin Zurong shouted at the same time and ordered the old man beside them to attack. However, just as the two old men were about to rush forward, Yang Luo casually raised his right hand and easily caught Xiao Sudong's incoming fist. Xiao Sudong turned pale with fright at the scene and immediately tried to counterattack. However, Yang Luo did not give him another chance. Instead, he swung his right arm and lifted Xiao Sudong up like a sandbag. Then, he slammed him onto the ground. Bam! The ground in the hotel lobby shook violently, causing everyone present to feel a tremor. Even the thick marble tiles under Yang Luo's feet were directly smashed into powder. Pfft! Xiao Sudong spat out a mouthful of blood. He felt like his body was about to fall apart. Piss off! Yang Luo shouted coldly and kicked Xiao Sudong away. Brother Xiao! Li Yuan Bao and the others cried out and ran over to help him up. In an instant, the entire hotel lobby fell silent. Everyone looked at Yang Luo in a daze, their eyes filled with extreme shock. After being stunned for a while, the entire hall burst out in exclamations. Oh my god, the 5 kings of the Eastern Alliance, Xiao Sudong, can't even withstand a single blow from Mr. Yang? Not only is Mr. Yang's medical skills extraordinary, but his strength is also so heaven-defying. He's both skilled in medicine and martial arts. The Su family has recruited a top-notch son-in-law. Everyone exclaimed and looked at Yang Luo enviously. Moreover, many people were envious of the Su family. The Su family was already a first-rate family in Jiang City, and now they had such a powerful son-in-law. In the future, the Su family would probably be able to walk out of Jiang City and become one of the top families in China. Su Guoxiong, Su Wenfeng, Su Wenbin, Su Wanqiao, and the other members of the Su family were also stunned. Previously, they only knew that Yang Luo's medical skills were very good, but they did not expect him to be so well-versed in martial arts as well. Initially, many people in the Su family disapproved of Yang Luo and Su Qingmei's engagement. But now, they felt that old Master Su's judgment was really sharp. Su Qingmei's beautiful eyes widened, and her mouth formed an O shape. It turned out that this guy was so powerful. Everyone from the Lu family, Zhao Tianheng, Jiang Mingyu, and the others were also dumbfounded. Damn it, why is this bumpkin so powerful? Lu Yuding felt as though she was about to go crazy. Lu Yue's expression was also uncertain. She was shocked, angry, and unhappy at the same time. Why was it so difficult to teach this guy a lesson? Lu Changhe, on the other hand, felt suffocated. The more outstanding Yang Luo's performance was, the more he regretted it. He regretted breaking off the engagement, regretted chasing Yang Luo away, and regretted not grasping the hope of letting the Lu family soar. Jiang Mingyu narrowed his eyes and said, "Looks like I have to reevaluate this kid." At this moment, Xiao Sudong's face turned pale as he looked at Yang Luo in horror. Are you a Khanate realm martial warrior?" Yang Luo said indifferently, "Even the Khanate realm martial warriors are nothing in my eyes." Therefore, the old fart had briefly told him about the division of cultivation in China's martial arts world. They were Acquired Realm, Khanate Realm, Grandmaster Realm, Martial Highness Realm, Martial King Realm, Martial Emperor Realm, Martial God Realm, Martial Saint Realm. Each realm was divided into early stage, middle stage, late stage, and great circle. Although he did not know which realm his current cultivation was equivalent to that of a martial warrior, he estimated that defeating a Khanate realm martial warrior was still an easy process. Xiao Sudong frowned in confusion. What realm was this kid in? He actually did not even take Khanate realm martial warriors seriously? Just as Xiao Sudong was deep in thought, Yang Luo said coldly, "Today is my engagement day. I don't want to kill anyone. Get lost. Go back and tell Jiang Tianlong not to provoke me again. Otherwise, he won't be able to bear the consequences." His words left the audience reeling. They did not expect Yang Luo to not even take the leader of the Eastern Alliance seriously. This man was too arrogant. I'll definitely deliver your message. Xiao Sudong took a deep look at Yang Luo and waved his hand. Let's go. Soon, Xiao Sudong and the others left the hotel. After Xiao Sudong and the others left, Su Guoxiong called for everyone to continue eating. After learning that Yang Luo was a master of both medicine and martial arts, everyone who came to the banquet toasted Yang Luo one after another. They even handed over their business cards and expressed that they wanted to befriend Yang Luo. The Lu family and the Zhao family couldn't take it anymore and left halfway. The engagement banquet lasted well into the night. After the guests left, Su Guoxiong patted Yang Luo's shoulder and sighed, "Little Luo, I was right about you. From now on, I'll leave Qimei to you. You have to protect him well." Yang Luo smiled and nodded. "Don't worry, old Master Su. I will definitely protect Qimei well." Su Guoxiong glared at him in response. "You're still calling me old Master Su? Isn't it time to call Grandpa?" Yang Luo smiled dryly and scratched his head. "Yes, Grandpa." Good, good." Su Guoxiong smiled and left the hotel with the rest of the Su family. The Su family also arranged for a car to send Yang Luo and Su Qimei back to Imperial River Court. The limousine drove slowly on the road. Yang Luo sat in the back seat and stared out of the window in a daze. Su Qimei glanced sideways at Yang Luo, but hesitated as to whether she should speak. Yang Luo turned around and smiled gently. "Wifey, if you have something to say, just say it." Su Qimei blushed. "Don't call me that. I'm not your wife yet." Yang Luo shrugged and said, "You're already engaged to me. How can you not be my wife? This is an engagement, not a marriage." Su Qimei felt her face burning as she said, "In short, you're not allowed to call me wife in the future. Just call me by my name." Yang Luo nodded in amusement. Okay. I understand." Su Qimei took a deep breath before turning to Yang Luo with sparkling eyes. "Yang Luo, one didn't expect you to not only know medicine, but also martial arts. I'm very curious. Do you actually have anything that you don't know?" Yang Luo smiled and said, "I'm well-versed in medicine, martial arts, zither, chess, calligraphy, painting, feng shui, metaphysics, yin and yang, the 5 elements, mystical techniques. I've learned all of them." "You're bragging again." Su Qimei rolled her eyes at Yang Luo. "I'm not bragging." Yang Luo spread his hands and said with a smile, "Qimei, you'll know in the future that what I said is true." "All right, I'll be waiting." Su Qimei nodded. Although she had only spent a few days with this man, she felt that he was simply a mystery, a treasure waiting to be unearthed. She looked at Yang Luo's side profile gently and thought to herself, "Yang Luo, how many more surprises can you bring me in the future?" The next morning, Imperial River Court, Villa Number 8. Phew. Yang Luo exhaled a mouth of turbid air as he woke up from his cultivation. After sensing his cultivation level, Yang Luo shook his head. There was still no progress. It seemed that he had to speed up the collection of medicinal herbs and refine the spirit-gathering pill as soon as possible. Since Huang Tian and Chao Jixing wanted to acknowledge him as their master, he might as well take them in as his disciples and give them some pointers. This way, they could help him collect medicinal herbs. Yang Luo got off the bed and washed up. Then he went to the courtyard to do a set of boxing moves. It was only after he finished boxing that Yang Luo went into the kitchen to make breakfast. After breakfast was ready, Su Qimei, who was wearing a black business suit and a chiffon shirt, came downstairs. Looking at the breakfast on the table, Su Qing's eyes were filled with surprise. "Did you make all this?" "That's right." Yang Luo nodded. "Hurry up and sit down for breakfast." Su Qimei sat down and asked curiously, "You actually know how to cook?" Yang Luo said helplessly, "I live in the mountains with my master. I've been cooking since I was young. With time, I naturally learned how to cook." "Oh." Su Qimei nodded and picked up a sunny side up to take a bite. Her eyes lit up. "It tastes pretty good." "Of course." Yang Luo grinned. "Didn't I say that there's nothing one don't know? I only praised you a little and you're already so full of hot air." Su Qimei rolled her eyes at Yang Luo and said, "By the way, from today onwards, follow me to the company." "Huh?" Yang Luo was stunned. "I don't know anything about business at all. Why would I go to the company with you?" Su Qimei narrowed her beautiful eyes and said, "Didn't you just say that there's nothing you don't know?" Yang Luo was rendered speechless. Su Qimei chuckled and said, "In the future, you'll be my assistant. You'll do whatever one asks you to do. Besides, you're so skilled that you can be my bodyguard. If anyone dares to bully me, beat them up." As she spoke, Su Qimei waved her fists. "This one can." Yang Luo patted his chest and promised, "With me around, no one can bully you." Hearing the man's promise, Su Qing felt like she had found someone to rely on. Her heart felt warm at this thought. At that moment, the doorbell rang. "Who's here so early in the morning?" Su Qimei was puzzled and hurriedly went to open the door. The moment the door opened, Su Qimei beamed in happiness. "Momo, you're here." Qin Yimo, who was sitting in the wheelchair, blinked and smiled. "I'll have to trouble you for the next period of time." Su Qimei said, "It's no trouble at all. Come in quickly." A female assistant in a lady's suit pushed the wheelchair in. Meanwhile, the chauffeur brought Qin Yimo's luggage in. "Good morning, Mr. Yang." Qin Yimo greeted Yang Luo with a smile. "Good morning, Miss Qin." Yang Luo smiled back. The chauffeur left after carrying the luggage. Qin Yimo introduced, "Qimei, Mr. Yang, this is my assistant, Wu Yu. She will also stay behind to help me later. Forgive her if she disturbs you." "What are you talking about?" Su Qimei shook her head and said, "It's livelier with one more person at home." As she spoke, Su Qimei said, "Momo, Assistant Wu, you haven't had breakfast yet, right? Come and eat together." Qin Yimo was shocked when she saw the dishes on the table. "Qimei, did you make this?" Su Qimei stuck out her tongue and said, "You know that I don't know how to make breakfast. This was all done by Yang Luo." "Really?" Qin Yimo looked at Yang Luo and smiled. "Mr. Yang, there aren't many men who can cook now. However, if that's the case, Qimei will definitely not learn how to cook in the future." Yang Luo smiled and said, "It's fine. I'm willing to cook for Qimei for the rest of my life." Su Qingmei's face turned completely red. She said coyly, "Even if you're willing, I'm not." Qin Yimo sighed softly and said, "I'm so envious to see you guys so happy. One wonder when 1 foot 11 inches be able to find my other half." Su Qimei hurriedly consoled her, "Momo, when your legs recover, I'm afraid there will be countless people wooing you. Miss Qin, don't worry. 1 foot 11 inches definitely treat you and let you stand up again." Yang Luo gave Qin Yimo a reassuring look and said, "After breakfast, we'll start the first round of treatment." "Okay." Qin Yimo nodded obediently. After breakfast, the group arrived at the living room. Yang Luo took out a box of silver needles that he had bought at the medical center and said, "Qimei, please help Miss Qin lift her skirt." "All right." Su Qimei nodded and lifted Qin Yimo's skirt, revealing her legs. Meanwhile, Yang Luo squatted down and picked up a silver needle. He injected True Qi into it and accurately stabbed one of the acupuncture points on Qin Yimo's leg. Buzz. As the silver needle accurately pierced into the acupuncture point, it began to vibrate gently. Seeing the scene, Qin Yimo and Wu Yu's eyes were filled with shock. "Isn't this too amazing?" Qin Yimo could not help but exclaim. In the past, many famous Chinese doctors had treated her, but she had never seen any Chinese doctor with such magical acupuncture skills. Even Su Qimei, who had seen Yang Luo's acupuncture techniques before, still felt a wave of shock upon witnessing his techniques. After a while, Yang Luo looked up and asked, "Miss Qin, do you feel anything in your legs?" "No." Qin Yimo shook her head. Yang Luo nodded. He picked up another silver needle and pierced it into the second acupuncture point on Qin Yimo's leg. "And now?" Yang Luo asked again. Still nothing. Qin Yimo shook her head once more. Yang Luo did not hesitate and continued to perform the acupuncture. When the fourth silver needle landed, Qin Yimo shouted in surprise, "One got it. I felt something. I can feel the heat on my legs. It's numb, as if there are ants crawling around." Ever since her legs were paralyzed, she had lost all feeling in them. However, she did not expect to be able to feel anything on her legs today. This made her extremely happy. Wu asked excitedly, "Eldest miss, you really felt something in your legs?" "Momo, is this true?" Su Qimei also got emotional. It's true. Qin Yimo nodded repeatedly. On the way here, we did not believe that Yang Luo could really cure Qin Yimo. After all, after so many years, the Qin family had hired countless famous doctors both domestically and overseas to treat Qin Yimo, but in the end, there was nothing they could do. However, she didn't expect Yang Luo to be able to regain feeling in Qin Yimo's leg in such a short time. Wu thought to herself, this man is really not simple. Yang Luo relaxed and smiled. Miss Qin, it seems that your illness isn't as serious as one thought. Perhaps in less than half a month, you will be able to stand up again. Well, thank you, Mr. Yang. Many thanks to you. Qin Yimo was so happy that she did not know what to do. She thanked him profusely. Yang Luo smiled gently and said, you should save your thanks only after you stand up again. All right. Qin Yimo nodded heavily. After that, Yang Luo did not stop at all and continued to perform the acupuncture. 10 minutes later, Yang Luo put away the silver needles, wrote a prescription, and handed it to Wu Yu. Assistant Wu, I've written a prescription for you. Go to the clinic to get the herbs according to what I wrote. Then, steep them and let Miss Qin take it. From now on, one will perform acupuncture on Miss Qin every day and write a prescription. Miss Qin will recover in less than half a month. Yes, Mr. Yang. Wu Yu took the prescription, her eyes filled with admiration. At this moment, Su Qimei suddenly interrupted, Momo, I'm going to the company. One can't accompany you anymore. Qin Yimo shook her head. Assistant Wu is with me. It's fine. You guys go ahead. All right, I'll come back tonight to accompany you. Su Qimei left the villa with Yang Luo. On the way to the company, Su Qimei drove while Yang Luo sat in the front passenger seat. Yang Luo, why don't you even know how to drive? Are you the boss or am I the boss? Su Qimei was very depressed at the moment. What kind of boss would drive for an employee? Yang Luo chuckled and said, didn't I just come down the mountain? One haven't touched a car, so one naturally won't know how to drive. But it's fine. My learning ability is very strong. I'll be able to drive it in a few days. Su Qimei nodded and said, all right, if you really know how to drive, 1 foot 11 inches get you a driver's license. No problem. Yang Luo responded. Half an hour later, the two of them arrived at Hua Mei Biomedical's underground garage and took the elevator upstairs. Su Qimei added to him, Yang Luo, don't call me by my name in the company. Just call me President Su. Why? Yang Luo was a little puzzled. Su Qimei said, the employees in the company don't know about our relationship, and one don't want to announce it so soon. Fine. Yang Luo nodded helplessly. It seemed that there was still a long way to go before he could make this woman his true wife. As they conversed, they took the elevator all the way to the 28th floor. When the elevator door opened, he saw a capable young woman in a gray business suit and silver-rimmed glasses standing at the door with a folder. Good morning, President Su. The woman quickly greeted her. Morning. Su Qimei nodded and introduced her to Yang Luo. Yang Luo, this is my assistant, Su Yan. Then, Su Qimei introduced her to Su Yan. Su Yan, this is Yang Luo. From today onwards, Yang Luo will also be my assistant. Hello, Assistant Su. Yang Luo smiled and extended his hand to Su Yan. Nice to meet you. Su Yan frowned slightly and extended her hand as well. She was very puzzled and didn't know why President Su had hired another assistant. Could it be that President Su felt that her ability was not enough? Su Yan, report the company's situation. Su Qimei said as she walked towards her office. Su Yan followed at the side, opened the folder, and began to report on the company's situation. President Su, as of yesterday, the sales of our company's products have fallen by another %. Su Qimei frowned and said, hold some promotional activities and try to salvage the sales. Yes. Su Yan nodded and said, President Su, the Qin family of Ning City will arrive at our company this afternoon. That's great. Su Qingmei's face lit up. As long as we get the Qin family's secret recipe, we can immediately produce new products and compete with Dingxing Biomedical. Along the way, Su Yan reported the situation. Su Qimei, on the other hand, suggested some suggestions and plans based on Su Yan's report. Yang Luo followed behind him and praised her in his heart. This woman was quite impressive. Moreover, along the way, Yang Luo also realized that most of the employees of Hua Mei Biomedical were women. Yang Luo was very satisfied. To be able to work in a company filled with beauties, he could at least feast his eyes. Soon, Yang Luo followed Su Qingmei into the office. Su Qingmei's office was spacious and bright. It was clean, neat, and stylish, giving off a comfortable feeling. After entering the office, Su Yan continued, "President Su, there's one more thing. Overseas Trading still owes us 8 million yuan. President Li had said that he would return the money in 3 months, but half a year had passed and he still had no intention of doing so. I've already urged him a few times before, but President Li has been finding excuses to delay it." Su Qimei handed the car keys to Su Yan and said, "Su Yan, go to the Four Seas Trading Company now and tell President Li that if he doesn't return the money, our Hua Mei Biomedical will go through legal procedures." "Yes, President Su." Su Yan nodded. Su Qimei glanced at Yang Luo, who was wandering around the office, and said, "Yang Luo, accompany Su Yan." "Huh?" Yang Luo was stunned, "Me too." Su Qimei smiled playfully at his response. "Why? You don't dare to go. What's there to be afraid of? Isn't it just debt collection?" Yang Luo promised, "Wait for my good news. 1 foot 11 inches definitely help you get your debt back." Hearing Yang Luo's words, Su Yan's eyes were filled with disdain. This guy really thought that this debt-collecting ability was very good and even promised solemnly. Su Qimei reminded him, "Yang Luo, try to have a good talk with President Li after meeting him. Don't be rash." Yang Luo smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'll definitely convince them with reason." After leaving the office, Yang Luo and Su Yan took the elevator to the underground parking lot. "Assistant Yang, you drive." Su Yan handed the key to Yang Luo. Yang Luo smiled awkwardly, "I don't know how to drive." "What?" Su Yan looked at Yang Luo speechlessly. What kind of assistant doesn't know how to drive? Yang Luo spread his hands, "But I really don't know how to drive." "Fine, I'll drive." Su Yan shook her head and got into the driver's seat. Yang Luo sat in the front passenger seat even more naturally. The car started and left the underground parking lot, heading straight for the Four Seas Trading Company. Along the way, Su Yan asked all kinds of questions about the company's management and so on, wanting to test Yang Luo. However, Yang Luo did not know anything. He knew nothing about the company's operations and management. Su Yan got puzzled. Why did President Su hire such a guy as his assistant? Could this guy be President Su's pretty boy? At this point, she did not ask further. It was a taboo for subordinates to ask about their boss's private matters. In the following period of time, Su Yan did not continue to talk to Yang Luo. In her opinion, Yang Luo was just an embroidery pillow without much ability. 20 minutes later, the car arrived at an office building in the city center. After parking the car, Yang Luo followed Su Yan towards the building. On the way, Su Yan reminded him, "Assistant Yang, I'll talk to President Li later. Just sit by the side and listen. Don't interrupt." "Okay." Yang Luo nodded and did not say anything else. They walked into the office building and arrived at the front concierge. Seeing them, the lady manning the counter smiled and asked, "May I know what's the matter?" Su Yan introduced herself. "I'm Su Yan, the assistant of President Su of Hua Mei Biomedical. Please contact President Li of Four Seas Trading and tell him that one have something to discuss with him." "Will do." The lady at the front desk nodded and made a call. Soon, the front desk lady hung up the phone and said, "Please wait a moment." After a short wait, a beautiful woman in a light coffee-colored business suit walked over. She extended her hand to Su Yan with a smile. "Hello, Assistant Su. President Li invites you." Then, under the woman's lead, Yang Luo and Su Yan took the elevator to Four Seas Trading Company on the 16th floor. She walked into the company and arrived at the door of the CEO's office. The woman knocked on the door and said, "President Li, Assistant Su, and the others are here. Please come in." A male voice came from inside. He pushed open the door and saw a middle-aged man in a white shirt with slicked-back hair flipping through a document. This middle-aged man was the general manager of the Four Seas Trading Company, Li Sihai. Seeing Su Yan enter, Li Sihai welcomed her warmly. "Assistant Su, what brings you to my company today?" Su Yan replied, President Li, we do have something to discuss with you. And this is... Li Sihai turned to Yang Luo. Su Yan introduced, this is President Su's new assistant, Yang Luo. Oh, hello, Assistant Yang. I'm the General Manager of 4C's Commerce, Li Sihai. Li Sihai smiled and extended his hand. However, the moment he shook hands with Li Sihai, Yang Luo frowned slightly. There was something wrong with this guy. He glanced at Li Sihai and immediately understood what was going on. Assistant He quickly poured 2 cups of tea. Li Sihai ordered. Yes, President Li. Assistant He nodded and poured 2 cups of tea before leaving the office. Please take a seat. Li Sihai raised his hand and invited Su Yan and Yang Luo to the sofa. After sitting down, Li Sihai asked with a smile, Assistant Su, what do you want to talk to me about? Su Yan said, President Li, I won't beat around the bush with you. We're here today to ask when you're going to return the rest of the money to us. Hearing this, the smile on Li Sihai's face froze. He took a sip of tea and said with a sigh, Assistant Su, one want to return it, but my company's cash flow has been tight recently. Why don't you tell President Su to give me more time? When the cash flow is ready, I'll return the money immediately. Su Yan frowned and said, President Li, you said that you would pay for the goods in 3 months. But it's been half a year. President Su has given you 3 more months. I hope you won't go overboard. Hearing this, Li Sihai's face darkened as well. Ilo suddenly put down the cup in his hand and said in a low voice, Assistant Su, you should know how difficult it is to sell the products of your Hua-made biomedical now. One still have a backlog of half of your products that I can't sell. If I can't sell the products, one won't be able to get my liquidity back. How do you expect me to pay you back? Su Yan said, President Li, our company is also thinking of ways to remedy the problem of the product not being sold. When our company's new product goes on the market, we can recapture the market. Moreover, this is a separate matter. We signed a contract back then. President Su gave you 3 more months because our families have worked together for many years. If you don't return the money, we can only go through legal procedures. Upon hearing this, Li Sihai's expression changed. He immediately smiled and said, Assistant Su, don't be so harsh. Going through legal procedures will hurt our relationship. How about this? Go back and tell President Su to give me another month. 1 foot 11 inches return the money in a month's time. How about that? Just as Su Yan was about to speak, Yang Luo, who had been sitting at the side without saying anything, suddenly spoke out, President Li, we can wait for a month, but can you? Assistant Yang, what do you mean by that? Li Sihai asked with a puzzled expression. Su Yan also looked at Yang Luo, not knowing what he meant. Yang Luo sighed and said, President Li, you won't live for more than a month, but you still want us to wait for a month. At that time, if you die, who will return the money? Just as he finished his sentence. Bang! Li Sihai slapped the table and said angrily, Assistant Yang, what do you mean? One just owe you guys some money. Why do you have to curse me like that? Assistant Yang, stop talking. Su Yan was also shocked and quickly tried to stop Yang Luo. What did this guy mean? Why did he curse him out of nowhere? Yang Luo shrugged and said, President Li, I'm not cursing you. I'm simply telling the truth. You're really dying. You. Li Sihai was so angry that his chest heaved up and down. He pointed at the door and said, Get out. President Li, don't be angry. He just came to the company and doesn't know anything. Su Yan quickly comforted him and shouted at Yang Luo, Assistant Yang, this is not your business anymore. Hurry up and get out. Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and looked at Li Sihai. President Li, are you really going to chase me away? If I leave, no one will really be able to save you. Li Sihai was so angry that he laughed. Then, Assistant Yang, you said that I'm about to die. What evidence do you have? Yang Luo said indifferently, President Li, let me ask you. Have you been feeling weak in your limbs recently? Your chest is stuffy and you're short of breath. You're frustrated and have nightmares at night? Let me ask you again. Do you think that you've been very unlucky recently and that nothing you do has gone smoothly? Li Sihai suddenly sat up straight. How did you know? Seeing Li Sihai's surprised expression, Su Yan was dumbfounded. What was going on? Did Yang Luo really hit the nail on the head? Of course I can tell. Yang Luo shrugged and said, in your situation, you've suffered a backlash from the dabbling in dirty things. If you don't deal with it now, you'll definitely die. Backlash from something dirty? Li Sihai frowned. What do you mean? Yang Luo pointed at the Buddhist tablet on Li Sihai's chest and said, Where did you get this Buddhist tablet? Li Sihai said, I asked for this Buddhist tablet in Elephant Country. It says that it can be used to give the user luck. Yang Luo sneered and said, You're actually still wearing such an evil thing. You're really courting death. Why is it an evil thing? Li Sihai was instantly displeased by Yang Luo's words. Ever since one put on this Buddhist tablet, my luck has indeed improved a lot. Yang Luo said, This evil thing can indeed bring luck to the wearer for a short period of time, but as time passes, its evil nature will cause a backlash to the wearer. If you don't believe me, I'll show you now. As he spoke, Yang Luo reached out and grabbed the Buddhist tablet in front of Li Sihai's chest. Then he squeezed it hard. With a crisp crack, the Buddhist tablet shattered. The moment the Buddhist tablet was crushed, a black shadow that looked like a child swept out. The temperature in the entire office suddenly dropped, and the area turned a little darker. Li Sihai and Su Yan could not help but shiver. After this black shadow rushed out, it bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it pounced towards Yang Luo. Yang Luo's expression was cold as he shouted, A mere heretic dares to cause trouble here? You have a death wish. As he spoke, Yang Luo raised his right hand, put his index and middle fingers together, and directly mobilized his true qi to draw talismans in the air. A golden talisman immediately appeared in midair and pressed down on the black shadow. Day. The black shadow let out a miserable scream before it dissipated into the sky. When the black shadow dissipated, the entire office regained its light and the temperature returned to normal. In an instant, the office fell silent. Even a pin drop could be heard. Li Sihai and Su Yan looked at Yang Luo in a daze, their eyes filled with shock. Everything happened too quickly just now, and they had yet to recover from the mental impact. There was a long silence before Li Sihai and Su Yan finally came back to their senses. Yang. Assistant Yang. What was that just now? Li Sihai asked in a trembling voice. Yang Luo curled his lips and said, What else could it be? It's just a dirty spirit living in a Buddhist tablet. All. Su Yan screamed in fear and grabbed Yang Luo's arm tightly. Her entire body was trembling and her lips were pale. She was sweating profusely at this moment. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed it. This simply overturned her worldview. Yang Luo smiled and said, Assistant Su, don't be afraid. I've already gotten rid of it. Oh. Su Yan let out a long, shaky breath before she let go of him. Meanwhile, Li Sihai also remained rooted at his place in fright. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Yang Luo turned to look at Li Sihai and said, President Li, are you feeling better now? Li Sihai took a deep breath and sensed his body. His face suddenly filled with surprise. Assistant Yang, one feel much more relaxed. Amazing, Assistant Yang, you're really godly. Now he completely believed Yang Luo's words. After all, he had always believed in such occult and supernatural things. Otherwise, he would not have gone to the Elephant Kingdom to ask for the Buddhist tablet. Furthermore, the technique that Yang Luo displayed just now was simply amazing. Yang Luo said, President Li, although I've gotten rid of this evil spirit, it has left some repercussions on your body. I'll write a prescription for you now. Take the herbs according to it and steep them to drink every day. In at most a week, your body will recover. As he spoke, Yang Luo picked up the pen and paper on the table, wrote a prescription, and handed it to Li Sihai. Li Sihai took the prescription, almost unable to control his excitement. He looked at Yang Luo gratefully and said, Mr. Yang, one really failed to recognize an expert. To think I was actually suspicious of you just now. I'm really sorry. If you hadn't saved me, I wouldn't even know how I died. I'll return the money now. With that, Li Sihai quickly took out his cell phone and started transferring money. Now, he no longer treated Yang Luo as a mere assistant and directly called him Mr. Yang. After transferring the money, Li Sihai wrote another check and handed it to Yang Luo. Mr. Yang, this is 5 million yuan. This bit of money is nothing to your life-saving grace. If you need my help in the future, feel free to let me know. Yang Luo nodded, took the check, and casually put it in his pocket. After that, Li Sihai and Yang Luo exchanged contact details and respectfully sent Yang Luo to the entrance of the company. On the way back to Hua Mei Biomedical, the shock in Su Yan's heart had yet to dissipate. She did not expect a mere debt collection to be so exciting. Moreover, it went so smoothly. But she knew that this was all thanks to the man beside her. This man was definitely not as simple as he looked on the surface. Expert. This man was definitely an expert. Su Yan said apologetically, "Assistant Yang, please forgive me for offending you just now." "It's all right." Yang Luo waved his hand. "Although I know a lot of things, it's true that I really don't know anything about business. Therefore, I hope that Assistant Su can guide me in the future." Su Yan smiled. "I'm not worthy of providing guidance. If you have anything you don't understand in the future, feel free to ask me." "All right." Yang Luo nodded. Inside Hua Mei Biomedical, in the president's office, Su Qimei looked at the notification on her phone and was a little stunned. She had already prepared for the worst and planned to go through legal procedures. Unexpectedly, she received a transfer from Li Sihai. She had called Su Yan to check just now. However, Su Yan said that it was all thanks to Yang Luo. Otherwise, she really wouldn't have gotten back what they wanted today. How did this guy get the money? Su Qimei muttered. It seemed like she could only wait for Yang Luo and Su Yan to return before asking. Knock, knock, knock. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Hearing it, Su Qimei replied, "Please come in." The door was pushed open. A tall and handsome young man in a branded suit walked in. It was Jiang Mingyu. Upon seeing him, Su Qingmei's expression darkened. "Jiang Mingyu, what are you doing here?"